going on, everybody? It's Tuesday night. This is the Fandom Empire Show. Right, not Fandom Empire Live. Different show name, a little bit of a different format. And I'm joined by, well, hopefully 3 individuals in a good mood, because I think one might just go full Sith and kill us all on air. But that'd be entertaining, right? That's good for some super chats and likes. Joining us on this show, fresh off of recording a couple of Halloween videos and a Stranger Things Season 4 video, it's Mr. Mike Bish. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Doing good. Excited to be here. Excited to launch this pilot show of the Fandom Empire Show. Great to be back on the panel with everybody. Everybody looks happy except for the guy at the very bottom left, for whatever reason. But I'm good to be here. It's good to be here, man, and excited to talk some Stranger Things, some Halloween ends, and then kind of tap out from there and kick back, listen to the show. See what else y'all got on the timeline
tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Full show.
Also joining us tonight, and Jared's going to join us a little later. We're going to close the show normally with wrestling talk, so we'll see who's still around then. But we're going to talk a little bit about the AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Also joining us tonight, he is the co-host of the Inside Handoff podcast and a guy that's going to get probably not a whole lot of sleep tonight, just like this guy right here. It's Johnny. What's going on, man?
Not much at all. I'm actually deciding if it's worth squeezing in the 2 hours that I'd get, after we finish this before we're back at it again for Obi-Wan, or if it's, I'm just going to stay up all night and crash at 5 o'clock after we finish recording.
I'll literally be getting up and going out the door, so I have to get a few hours sleep.
Yeah, I don't have that, hanging over my head in a few hours.
It'll be worth it. And really, I just told everybody in the fandom chat this. If you're not watching Obi-Wan Kenobi tonight, and this is actually news to me, this is not something that we've talked about before. Please don't let anybody else spoil the episode. Turn off your fucking notifications, mute your chats, don't go on Twitter. Experience what happens tonight for yourself. So that's all I'll say about that.
Well, if you've heard something, you got to tell us what's the episode length.
No. Even I'm not going to go into this because it's completely...
Tell me the motherfucking episode length.
I'm finding out shit, motherfucking...
You'll go fuck yourself.
Sorry, the episode what?
Length. I want to know the runtime.
I don't know. That I don't know. 45
what the
minutes.
fuck? What the fuck do you know that? Fuck.
Nothing.
Something.
We make everything up here. There's no legitimate news that ever comes from here.
Everything is just shit. You know that? Fuck.
Also joining us tonight, he is the host of the Rick and Morty fan show. It's Sarcastic Kieran. What's going on, man?
Life is shit.
Sorry, one more time. I heard life is, and then I did not hear
shit. I said life is shit.
Life is shit.
It's all shit.
You're excited
I don't know why we do anything.
Oh, right? We haven't had a chance to talk Kenobi yet. We were literally side by side one another for fucking 5 or 6 hours. Never talk Kenobi.
That's literally the only reason I came on this show. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this fucking show, but I was like, you know what? Probably going to be able to talk about Kenobi. It was pretty good. It'll be fun. Fine, I'll do it.
I feel like you're having a bad Santa type day. Oh my God! Why?
Well, I also had to sit by. Sit by while that fucking 10-minute intro went on.
Allows people to get in, and you know what? During that time, 13 more people joined, so it served its purpose. Alrighty. Also joining us tonight, he's gonna stay up all night. He's gonna watch Kenobi at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's not even gonna go to bed tonight. It's Tommy B.
The fuck I am. We know how it goes. My ass wakes up early. I wake up probably 5 a.m. I'll catch Kenobi then. That's when I'll catch it.
So I guess I'm the only psycho on the crew that wakes up at 3 a.m. to watch a show that drops. So I'll take a step back on the psycho train.
Johnny and I are doing it, but
we're literally doing live recordings at 2:30 a.m. to preview the episode, watching it, and then doing reviews immediately afterwards at 4 o'clock in the morning. So
love that.
We're a special kind
Man,
of crazy.
I need my motherfucking sleep. I wake up when I wake up tomorrow, and then I'll watch it, and then I get ready
I'm sorry,
to go work.
did you not literally post on Facebook while we were in the middle of doing a live review that you were awake and watching the episode last week?
Yeah. And that was my normal wake up time.
No.
It was not.
Wait, this would have been like 3 o'clock in the morning, man.
I think it was
You know what? I think it was
3:45.
4:45. I think it was 4:45. I think I woke up a little early.
There you have it. Tommy B's making shit up. He's making shit up.
I mean, everything is just shit anyway, right?
He just
So who
doesn't
really
want to bring
cares?
you content. He's like, oh, I'm awake, but fuck you.
I'm gonna
I
make
don't want to
you
stop in
some
between
content.
episodes. Fuck you guys.
Mike Bish asks the chat, what are y'all looking forward to us talking about? We're talking about a lot tonight. We're going to start with some Stranger Things, give the floor to Mike for a bit, and then dive into some Halloween End stuff, go over some of the videos we've done recently, and we got a trailer rumor. We'll see if it comes true. We have a potential date, so we'll talk about that too. So let's dive into this right off the bat. Mike, Stranger Things season 4, dude. Give us your non-spoiler thoughts and why people shouldn't wait any longer to watch.
We'll say this before you start. Tommy and I have threatened him under punishment of death if he should drop spoilers. So if you're expecting spoilers, that's not happening, because if they do, Tommy and I will kill him.
But you know what? Also, I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
trailers are fair game. So what you
that's-
see
I mean,
in the
that's a whole
trailer, I
different
think it's
animal.
fair game.
I'm sure Mike's worried that you guys are going to go kill him.
He should.
I only live a few hours from them.
Yeah.
Kieran, have you ever seen Stranger Things? I've not. I haven't seen a single episode.
I watched up to like season 2, like halfway through 2. And then I liked it, and I don't know, I just stopped watching it for some reason.
I'm gonna have to eventually.
I think the last thing I remember is they found some fucking weird aliens in a garbage can or something like that.
That's really not as helpful as you think it is. However, he's
halfway through season
obviously, yeah, he's talking the demo dog.
He's talking Dart.
Yeah,
Dart.
Well, I watched all of season 1 and I liked it. But I don't know, whatever.
Let's find out how many people in the chat are watching Stranger Things, because I seen the numbers today and it's outrageous, record-breaking for Netflix. So anybody who's watching Stranger Things season 4 or has watched Stranger Things up to season 4, put a 1 in the chat. If you're currently watching Stranger Things, the new season, or you're caught up to the new season, put a 1 in the chat. Let's see how popular Stranger Things is among our audience. Mike, take it away, man. What do you have to say? Stranger Things season 4. A lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, so obviously, I'm not going to any spoilers, not even the smallest amounts, out of respect for everybody who hasn't seen it. But yes, I'd mentioned before, I am one of those psychos that fell asleep about 9:30, 10 o'clock the night before it came out, woke up 3 a.m. And binged this entire season till about noon the next day, and got up, showered, and went to work. And was struggling the entire day, but I'll tell you what, it was 100% worth it. And I'll start off from the bat telling everybody that this is my favorite series show of all time. So I'm a little bit harsh on my critique and my expectations. So I wouldn't BS anybody here and tell you that this season was phenomenal if it was not. And I will say so far, because we obviously have 2 episodes left in volume 2 that drops in about 31 days. The first 7 episodes have been absolutely phenomenal. I'll start off with the acting. The acting is out of this world. We grew up with these kids in a sense, right? They started when they were 12. They're in their 20s now. I think Millie is 19 or 18, something like that. So she's one of the youngest, but they've grown up, obviously, especially with the hiatus. But the acting is absolutely phenomenal. The new characters that stand out, they fit in very well. I will tell you that the standout actor, or I should say actress for me, is Sadie Sink, who plays Max. I think she does phenomenal in this season, particularly in episode 4. And that's all I'm gonna say. Episode 4 and episode 7 are the standout episodes for me as far as my 2 favorite. But yeah, I mean, it lived up to very high expectations for me. The biggest thing for me, my worry on this, it was, again, we're in another season where we are focusing on different storylines, and obviously I don't know what it's going to be like coming into the last two seasons, but I did see, or the last two episodes of the season, but according to the trailer in one scene, they do all come back together by that final episode, so we can expect that to happen. But my worry was, how are they going to balance these different storylines? We've seen it in the past, but these storylines have now grown in season 4. But it's, that worry went away really fast. And I'll tell you what, I'm definitely gonna, not that I did, but any doubt that I have from the Duffer Brothers is going to be put to a halt, because they continue with the writing and the cinematography, continue to blow me away. The horror in this season is on another level, which I think is fair, because the kids are older now. So it's definitely fair and expected for the horror to get darker, to get scarier. A lot of references from the 80s, of course, that have always been in here. But for us horror fans, obviously Robert Englund is in Stranger Things this season. He does phenomenal in the limited time that he is on screen. And I will say this. A lot of references to do with Michael Myers himself. The word Michael Myers is referenced in this season. Halloween is referenced in this season. And I would say you see a lot of, with the cinematography, a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street in it. In this, you get that vibe. So great season so far. I've given it a 9.7, I believe. I think is what I rated it the other day. So it's been absolutely phenomenal, and everything that I expected it to be so far. Obviously, we have 2 episodes left, which are about, I think one's 2 hours or 1:45, and then I know for a fact that last episode 9, is 2.5 hours long. So that comes out July 1st, and I can't wait to see it. And also, I'm not a Star Wars guy, but Star Wars is referenced in this season multiple times as well. So so far lived up to the expectations, and I'm very happy with where we're at right now with 2 episodes left.
What do you mean you're not a Star Wars guy? How dare you throw that in there?
Just being honest. I mean, for all the Star Wars fans, though, I wanted to throw that in there, that there are several references to Star Wars.
I just can't believe what they've done with the runtimes for this, this season. Like there is not a single episode that is like an hour minus.
I think the shortest. I think the shortest episode is 1 hour and 4 minutes long. And that was, I would say, maybe another concern of mine is these episodes being dragged out. But I'll be honest with you. Despite the long run times, this season was a season where I felt like I had to hit play for the next episode, which is phenomenal because of the run times. I mean, you think no matter how long or how much you love a show or a movie, it's hard to sit there and for that amount of time. But the writing that the Duffer Brothers do, and the cliffhangers and the storytelling is so great that despite that runtime, you want to hit next on the next episode. And before I knew it, a show that I've waited 3 years to see was over in about 9 hours. Obviously, we got 2 more episodes left in this season, but it's absolutely phenomenal.
So, Mike, we're not talking spoilers or anything like that, but here's just a general plot element I want to ask you about this season. And they kind of referenced it in a dialogue piece from episode 2. I know that because I've only seen up to episode 2 so far. They keep coming back, and that's kind of a spoiler, but do you see the possibility of them leaving at the end of this season, whatever element of the Upside Down they're dealing with open-ended. So they come back to it for
Wait.
season 5, the big wrap-up.
Were you just giving him shit for possibly spoiling stuff for you, and now you're spoiling shit for people that haven't seen it yet?
This is literally this is literally what Stranger Things is.
Well, I'll say this.
Well, you just said you didn't want to spoil people though, like just.
All right, sarcastic Kieran.
Watch the show. Tommy spoiled it all.
So I'm just gonna say this. Obviously, the volume 1 is up to 7 episodes. It leaves you on a cliffhanger for the final 2 episodes of the season. Obviously, we know there's going to be a final season, which is going to be season 5. And that's all I'm going to say. We can talk offline about that, Tommy. What's up?
Mike and I are friggin' recording a Stranger Things video last night. I'm just randomly asking him questions, and I blurted out, "Well, since this is the final season of Stranger Things," and he's like, "No, it's not." I'm like, see, this is why you shouldn't talk about what.
This is why you should see the show, Sean.
Well, I will tell you this. I will tell you this. Me and my sister are huge fans of the show, and her boyfriend, not a fan of the show, hasn't gotten into it, but he was just, sitting on the couch today, I believe, watching season 4 with her, and you know how it goes. You get sucked into a show, and you start asking questions and questions and questions, and he never understood what our, how we could love a show so much. But I'll tell you what, he's on season 1 right now because he got so sucked in on it. So that's how good season 4 has been and is. So yeah.
Anything Justin's comment there? All 3 of you, since you were watching.
To be honest with you, Justin, I'm not sure. That's obviously a Netflix decision. I don't know. I would say maybe because of the length. I mean, they're both 2+ hours long. Maybe that has something to do with the volumes. But I think, I don't.
We're not going to discuss the elephant in the room.
What? I mean, yeah, that too. I mean, think about it. I mean, even money has a big factor to do with it today, and I think they released the numbers today, and just the first 7 episodes, I think it's 287 million hours viewed, and that doesn't include the people who haven't watched the full seasons all the way through, one because of their busy schedule and the length of time for each episode. So just imagine when those people finish those first 7 episodes, and I know a lot of people that are staying off social media and staying off the internet, and they're waiting till July 1st for those 2 episodes to come out so they can watch it all in full without waiting. So you just put in perspective of 287 million hours viewed for this show is pretty crazy. Obviously record breaking for them. So, I don't know.
Johnny, Tommy, either you guys have any questions for Mike before we move on? No spoilers, obviously.
Not really, because any of the questions that I might ask for him might answer things that are going around in my head that are thoughts that I don't want out.
Yeah, I'll hold my stuff for a private message.
Yeah, I'm sure that once I finish at 7, probably tomorrow, there will be a long message sent to Mike that will have a lot of questions.
Please, yes, please, because there's not many people outside of a few people on my Netflix crew, writing crew, that have finished it. So I can't talk about it. It's fucking killing me. And I was telling Sean this last night. He didn't care about spoilers, so I'm just sitting there rambling on forever and ever and ever because I'm just, it's just. I'll just say this: the writing is so good. That 7th episode, there's things that come full circle that you'll sit back and just say, "Wow, this is fucking phenomenal," and that's all I can say because I'm gonna beat myself.
Stranger Things is a series I got in about the time the second season came out. My wife had seen the first one when it came out, and I didn't really know what it was about. But then I saw her doing a rewatch, so I jumped in at that time, and I've been hooked ever since. I'm going through it so slow because this is one of the few series we watch together and schedule. It's hard to do a binge watch together. We're going through it, and we've both unfortunately already had I think it's a minor plot detail, but we'll see. Spoiled for us by some of the students she teaches.
Wow.
But I'm also like
Look.
here, like going back to season 2, like I fucking knew they were going to do that. I knew it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I said, it's just so good how little stuff in previous seasons get picked up. But there's a major. There's things that come full circle in that final episode that you're like, wow, this writing is absolutely phenomenal. It's just crazy what they've done with this show. And I was telling Sean this last night. It's very rare when a show hits season after season after season, and as bittersweet as it's going to be because it is my favorite show of all time, I think season 5 is a great stopping point because you don't want to prolong a great show into an 8th or 9th season to one, it gets boring,
or a 15th season.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So like a Grey's Anatomy, like I was somebody who got onto Grey's Anatomy super late, and I was hooked until about that 12th season, and then it's like, okay, this kind of sucks now. It's just, but you know what? They're going to keep making it until it makes money, but I'm glad they made the decision that season 5 is going to be the last season. As bittersweet as it's going to be.
One more cheap shot out of you, Tommy B, and I'm going to give you a timeout. I know damn well what show you were referring to, and it wasn't Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, real quick, I'm gonna ask before we get off this, I'm gonna ask Tommy and Johnny so far. I know you're early in. Favorite character so far this season? I know it's early.
I mean, it's hard not to say Max at this point. I mean, it's very clear that they're setting her up for a big, she's getting that. She's sort of getting that Will role, Mike role, not Will. She's sort of getting that Mike spot as, the center where the story kind of flows off of her as that center of attention character.
What about you, Tommy? I agree, though.
I mean, yeah, we're seeing Max go in a different direction.
You're only at episode 1, though, so it's a lot different for you, I think.
I'm still... Oh, no, I've seen 2. I'm still, focused on Elle. I don't know, maybe
she's always going to be, her and Steve are always going to be my favorite, but I just think so far Max, and the deeper y'all get into this season, you'll see that I would say, I don't throw this around a lot, and I think I told Sean like this last night, I would say definitely at least an Emmy nomination. Like it's that phenomenal to me personally. But Johnny, you're done with episode 2, right?
Yes, I am about halfway through episode 3.
All right, I'm about to message you something real quick.
Okay.
Got secrets going on here. Big time secrets.
So tonight's going to be like a 4-hour episode, right?
Of Stranger Things?
Yeah.
No, that's after. That's the July, whatever the first Tuesday is after.
No, I mean the episode of this show that we're on right now.
Yeah,
4 hours?
I'm saying the 4-hour one is going to be the episode where we talk.
This is a full spread. This is a big show tonight. We're talking paper plate breaking.
Full spread, trust me.
Yeah.
That's not going to help his day any. Or maybe it will. I don't know. All right, let's move on here, guys. Next up, it was going to be its own show. It's not, but instead it's a segment. This is the Cinematic Showdown. All right, so the way the Cinematic Showdown is going to work is we're going to start off with 4 movies at the beginning of each month. And we, as a group, need to get rid of one of these movies until there's 2 left. So each week, one will get eliminated. And then when there's 2 left, we'll have a vote on who is the winner. So it's kind of like a fatal 4-way match of sorts, but between movies. And then each winner is going to go up against each other at the end of the year, and we'll put a vote out to the fans, and they'll pick whatever the Cinematic Showdown winner of the year is. And tonight's focus is Batman. I've picked 4 Batman films. And if one of these guys want to provide the 4 films for next week, feel free to do so. And one of these or I guess not next week, but next month, maybe we can take turns as we go here. but we got to get rid of a film. And I don't know how this is going to go because this is going to be hard. Here are our 4 films for the Cinematic Showdown. Chat, participate if you will, please. You have 1989's Batman. You have the sequel to that, Batman Returns, The Dark Knight,
Yikes.
and The Batman. One of these 4 films needs to be eliminated tonight so that we're down to 3.
Who picked these? You picked these?
I could have picked any 4 films, and you would say something like that.
Yeah, but no, this is. Oh, can we just spend 30 seconds on this?
I mean, I'll tell you what, round 1 is easy. But
Yeah.
for me,
Hang on. Are you asking to spend 30 seconds on why I picked these movies?
No, this is really easy.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know it'd be easy. Okay, what's your answer?
Batman Returns?
See, I hear so many people say they
Like-
love that movie. That's my pick too.
Really easily?
I mean, for me, it was my pick, but I know people that think that that's the best Batman movie ever. They're just over the moon over the Catwoman aspect of it. And
Really?
Danny DeVito. I could be wrong. I think someone
Nah,
on the channel is a
I've heard
pretty big fan of that movie, but
I mean, I like the movie. I don't think it's complete garbage. But when you throw it up compared against these and you rank it amongst the other Batman movies, it's lower on my list. I mean, that's my choice too. I mean, the other 3 are in my top 3 Batman movies of all time. I enjoy Returns. I don't think it's a bad film, but when you put it up against these 3, I at least think this round is simple, and that's Batman Returns. So the later we get into these rounds, for me, starting next week is going to be pretty tough.
Oh, next week will be tough for sure.
I have no idea what I would pick next week. I mean, it's clear that we've already decided. There's 3 of us that have picked Batman Returns, but we need to get the other votes regardless. Johnny, what one would you eliminate, man?
Well, I mean, my vote is irrelevant. I haven't seen one of them, so I have to vote for it.
Oh, I thought you had seen it, but I thought you said you were
No.
watching it when it came out on.
I haven't got around to it.
Trust me, it's better than Returns.
I'm sure it probably is, but I haven't seen it. Therefore, I must.
You haven't seen the new Batman movie?
seen the Batman? No.
Oh.
Here we go. Was that Tommy's Terrence impression there? Because it kind of sounded like him for a second. It looks like the chat is heavy on the Batman Returns as well, so maybe this wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be in round 1. I just knew if I put The Dark Knight Rises there, some people would vote that. If The Dark Knight Rises,
Some people. It's okay. You can say my name. I would have voted for that, even though I haven't seen Batman.
But to be honest with you, Sean, I mean, that's fine. Round 1 might be easy, but I would say, like I said, these next 3 weeks for me is very, very tough. So, I mean, I don't know if you could have got a better 4. Maybe you could have if you sat and thought, really, 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 really thought about it. But I do know people that likes Returns as well. And to be honest with you, yeah, I'm not sure
Actually,
after this week.
If you put Dark Knight Rises in here, I would have eliminated Dark Knight. So
there's a few people in the chat that
Yeah, that's just wrong.
I like Dark Knight Rises better than Dark Knight.
That's just wrong.
We need to watch that movie together sometime. I fucking love that movie. So
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Watch along.
Watch
along.
So why not?
I like the movies very similar, like they're super close, but I like the themes in Rises better. Like I'm a big fan of like movies where old people like myself have to get back into something. So, like I love the movie, the Rocky movie that a lot of people don't like, where he's really old and he has to start training again.
Oh, is this
Balboa?
Yeah.
He goes up
The sixth one.
I
I don't know. I'm
better
really
than the
attached
fifth
to those
one.
because I'm old and I'm always training for something anyways. So
I
Better
like
than
that
the
one.
fifth
That's
one.
good.
Yeah, I actually, that movie come out Christmas Day. I feel like I seen that movie Christmas Day one year.
Rocky Balboa.
that sounds right.
I
I mean,
mean,
it was around that
uh,
time. I don't
honestly,
remember
the only one that I really hate is the 5th one. I don't mind the rest of them at all.
Yeah, Rocky 5 is a piece of crap that belongs.
I
on the
just
bottom of my
watched
spoon.
Creed for the first time yesterday, and I haven't
I
seen the
haven't
second
sat
one
down
yet,
and
but
watched them yet.
I will
How did we
really
get
soon
the-
because the first
Rocky
one was amazing.
franchise?
Yeah, the first one was really good. Second one was good too, and I was kind of scared. I was like, don't go this route, but they pulled it off in a really good way.
So there you have it. That's the cinematic showdown.
I never even voted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you got
Go
it.
fuck myself.
All right.
Yeah, legit. Fuck. Now we're echoing again. Cool. So
Oh, I heard it that time.
just gonna throw this
Okay.
out there. I think most pre-2000 ish 2000s superhero movies.
Sorry, Tommy.
Just gonna mute me like that. Just gonna do me like that. I think most pre-2000s superhero movies are shit. Actually, I also just learned there was a Doctor Strange film that came out in 1978, and the thought of it horrifies me. But yeah, I'm with y'all on that one though. With the Batman Returns. I just wanted to bitch out there, and Sean, you're muted. So
It
you're
helps to
talking
unmute
nothing.
yourself when you talk.
I
Go
did it again,
fuck
Mike.
yourself, Tommy.
Fuck. Oh, this was a fucking problem last night. Ugh. Anyways, I haven't seen any of those like older cheesy superhero movies. I haven't seen I've seen Batman, but I don't classify it as cheesy. I love the Adam West Batman.
That's camp. That's not cheese.
But like there's Spider-Man, there's Captain America. I haven't seen any of them. Like any of you guys took
Oh man, Captain America. The old Captain America had an Italian Red Skull in it, and it's just fucking hilarious.
Oh,
I thought
It's so
Tobey Maguire
bad.
was the first Spider-Man.
no.
No.
Did
Huh.
you miss the whole angry live action guy who played Spider-Man in the 70s who was angry because I wasn't invited to be part of Far From Home?
I thought he did something that was Japan only.
No?
Yeah, well, there's a Japanese Spider-Man. Yeah, he
Yeah.
has a belt, but that Japanese Spider-Man like has nothing to do with Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man in costume only.
Isn't it like Spider-Man meets Power Rangers or something?
Well, it's the same thing as there's always like an Indian version of almost every superhero movie too, but they almost never have anything to do with the superhero. It's like they just wear the costume and make up their own story. And Japan has a couple of those too.
Oh boy. That I just had an idea popping in my head that was just so inappropriate.
Well, now you have to tell
Not
us.
Not you.
Captain India, where American superheroes outsource their villains.
Oof.
Karen, why you look like that?
What-
He's a grumpy old man.
Quick question, guys. Is it showing the time for you guys on the stream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not showing it for me.
37
Been
minutes.
Almost 37 shit
Thank you.
minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Forgive Kieran. He's in a mood tonight.
He pooped himself.
That's nightly for me. So,
What?
all right. Let's keep this train rolling. It's time to talk some Halloween ends. So we put out 3 videos. Mike and I have actually worked on 4 videos. I worked on one myself, so that's 5 videos. 2 more are coming. We did Halloween Ends, the state of Haddonfield. We did Halloween Ends Glass Hill. That just came out today. Big thanks to all you guys for checking that out. And if you haven't yet, head on over to our YouTube channel video page and check it out. And we also did Haddonfield, the Myers House. We do a deep dive into them as we introduce the new way that we're doing our solo content on the channel, where there's a little bit of an intro, a multiple choice question, and then we dive into a 2-person conversation. We're going to be doing that for more topics than just Halloween Ends moving forward as well. But if you guys have any questions regarding the state of Haddonfield, Glass Hill, and the Myers House, feel free to put them in the chat now, and we will answer them to the best of our ability. Also go over them briefly, but I want to get to the trailer rumor first, guys. So, again, this is strictly rumor, and I would not bet money on it, but I want to relay it because I think there's some logic behind it. The film that Halloween Ends has been predicted to be attached to in terms of a trailer is The Black Phone. It's a Blumhouse film starring, I believe it's Ethan Hawke. It comes out June 24th. Well, I was told today that
Yes.
we can expect the trailer that same week, possibly, maybe even the week before. So if that's true, we're only 2 or 3 weeks away from the Halloween Ends trailer. Again, it's a rumor. Please don't go saying that we said that it's coming out on those dates. We get it when we get it. And I'll be honest, if it's the thing they showed at CinemaCon, that doesn't do a whole lot for me. It doesn't. It's cool. We get to see a bit of the fight, but it's not really showing off your movie. So we'll have to wait and see what we actually get on that day. Now, quickly here, we're going to recap what's going on with Haddonfield. Mike and I did a video earlier this week, and if you want more details on it, please go check that out. On the state of Haddonfield, it's 4 years later. We had a couple people ask us in the chat earlier, what's up with Haddonfield? What's Michael been doing for 4 years? We'll answer that in a different video. But in this video, we can tell you that think about the trauma that occurred on Halloween night 2018. A lot of people tend to, when evaluating the first two movies and going into Ends, seem to, for whatever reason, disconnect the fact that Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, in fact, all take place on the same night for the most part. And so this town, which is not a giant town by any means, it's not some, great concrete jungle. It's not only has had a bunch of people just abandon it and leave. It's not a ghost town, but it's not far off from one either. But the people that still reside there are of two opinions. You have a bunch of people that truly believe that Michael Myers one day will return again, despite having vanished for 4 more years and hasn't been heard from since. And then you have another group of people that just want to move on and be done with it. And do you guys understand what this sounds like without me saying it? A certain hot button issue that's in the world. We've been talking about at length them making references to what's been going on in the world a couple of years, and it literally starts with Haddonfield in this movie. Thoughts, guys, on the state of Haddonfield? Does it make sense for them to just be, one, have a good chunk of the town leave, because why the hell would you stay? And two, the people that are left have almost adopted two philosophies: the prepare for Michael to return, and the no, let's get on with this. We need to move on with our lives. Thoughts on that? Any of you can go first.
Sounds like shit. Sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar, which is not
good.
Not a big surprise. Well, I wouldn't say it's not good, because I think the way it comes, at least how it's been explained to me, comes out good on screen. But there's going to be people that see that issue and immediately think that they're being, to be blunt, too woke. And I can already see the videos coming out. But
it's better than the alternative of what we were thinking this was going to look like.
It was not looking
Oh
good.
my God. I can't wait until the word woke is not used anymore.
That'd be nice.
Don't you hate fucking going on and someone will have a video and 4 big letters, this is woke and this is why it's terrible, and it's just like,
Yes, I was awake when I recorded it. Thank you.
were you?
Just,
I could see you sleeping through a
Some
recording.
People will
Somehow-
find another word to hate in a few more years.
somehow
Kieran, I'm
being
sure in your
progressive is
lifetime you've
bad
seen
now.
many words hated.
Somehow being progressive or trying to advance things in life is a terrible thing now. Anyways,
You know what's another word that everybody really has hated over the past few years? Moist. Right,
Oh.
Sean? Doesn't
I
everybody
use
hate
the
the
word
word
moist all the time.
Oh, you took time to watch it, huh? Yeah.
Not all of it. Not all of it.
You know what word I hate? Injustice. Oh, that was good. That was good. Inside joke. Literally.
For
inside.
anyone who's curious, Bo Burnham dropped an over an hour in length video of outtakes from Inside yesterday, and even the fucking outtakes are enjoyable. It's fantastic.
Better than what a lot of comedians put out as their actual thing, but that's a story for another day. Kieran, I know you've been big on this Halloween trilogy and liking the last 2 movies, unless that's changed. What do they got to do to stick the landing here, in your opinion? I know you haven't had much of a chance to talk Halloween lately, but You're happy with the two, just more of the same, or do they switch it up a bit here at the end?
They definitely got to keep it fresh and different and not tread over things that they've done before. And if they need to get woke in the process, then that's just fucking great for me, because I love fucking everything that people say is woke. I just love, so it doesn't matter. I would love to see what we were saying before, the state of Haddonfield being people living in a town where, you know, the people who stuck around are probably fucking crazy, and or it's probably a really cheap place to live now. I can imagine I imagine the economy is not very good. Like, I'd love to see it basically just be fucking South Oshawa, which, you know, is inside joke for only me and Sean. But I mean, to be honest, I'm really excited for Halloween Ends, and I don't know where it's going to go. I haven't paid attention to too many of the spoilers. I've been super busy lately, but I'm looking forward to it, and I think it'll be good. And I'm excited to see what the state of Haddonfield is, and I'm excited I keep hearing this thing that, like, the ending is something that people will probably hate, or there's going to be lots of anger for whatever the ending is or whatever the twist is. And I usually love things that people hate. So I know that you said that I particularly might not like it, but I don't know.
Well, to be clear, we don't know the ending. There's two endings right now.
You know what the possible ending is, right?
And we know the two endings.
Yeah.
And either way, whatever ending they go with, one group of the fan base is going to be pissed, no matter what. So
let's be clear too. I know I've said so many times that I want Michael to die at the end of the trilogy. That will not at all break it for me. That's not a deal breaker. It really isn't. If he doesn't die at all, or if they do fucking hand rising up from the grave, oh, he's still alive, that won't at all break it for me. It could still be done in such a way I'll like it. So I'm not worried about that sort of thing. If he ends up dying, or Laurie dies, or Laurie doesn't die, or, you know, whatever happens, none of those things break the movie for me. It just has to be delivered in such a way that I enjoy the film, and I've enjoyed 2018 and Kills like immensely. I think they've been fantastic. I think they've raised the quality of this. You know, they've been by far the best quality Halloween movie since the original, which, I mean, if you go back and watch the original now, it's still amazing. But, I love 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, not 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I love a lot of them, but I know that they're not masterpiece films or they're a little bit silly at times, but I still enjoy them. But I really do think that 18 and Kills are good films. They're made well. They're written well. I think they're great. So I'm just assuming that Ends will be good. You know, I trust. I actually said the exact same thing before Kills when we were doing it. We kept going through, well, this might happen. Well, that might happen. We're hearing rumors about this. And I just kept saying, I trust they're going to put out a good film, because I really liked 18. It's the same people, so I'm just going to trust them, and that's where I'm going with this one. I'm just going to trust that they finish off a trilogy that I like.
I think a lot of people have a really hard time separating themselves as fans of a franchise to judge a movie just for being a movie and how good the movie is. And this might piss a lot of people off, but in my opinion, there's not two better made Halloween movies than the last two that we've gotten. I'm sorry, technology's way further advanced. They look the best. They sound the best. That's where I sit. That does include Halloween and Halloween 4 for me as well. Even though I like those two films better, I just kind of where I am with it. And I feel like a lot of people will bash new stuff just because it's new and everybody, loves their nostalgia. But
it's easy to do.
It's like, let's call a spade a spade. For example, I love A New Hope, but I will never sit here and say that A New Hope is a better looking and better made film than, say, The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi looks like $1 million compared to A New Hope now. It's not even close. And I just don't know if modern filmmaking gets enough credit because we're so nostalgia driven in today's society. So, and I'll tell you right now, in terms of Halloween Ends, Halloween Kills was full of nostalgia. Don't get hung up on that shit for Halloween Ends because it's not coming. It's very much its own thing, and I would say that they're going to places they haven't gone before, and I think that's important. You know, let's see some new stuff. Let's not just keep rehashing the same old thing. Nobody wants to see that in my well, some people want to see that, but like Tommy and I were talking the other day, and it's like if you have a character in a TV show or a movie, and that character starts at point C, but never goes to points D, E, F, or A or B, and is just point C the entire way through from start to finish, that's not a good movie. That's not good storytelling. That you literally begin right where you started and nothing changed. And there is a ton of movies and TV shows like that, some that I even like, but that doesn't make them good. It's lazy. And I don't think these movies have done that. And I don't think they get enough credit for that in that regard.
I mean, there are some examples of movies that are just so dialogue based that the characters' progression doesn't matter, but I would agree with you that, like, for the most part, yeah, if you have to write a story where a character progresses and changes and leaves the story changed, and if you don't do that, then what's the story about? It has to be a story about nothing. I know you get that. If the characters don't change, then it has to be a story about nothing that's just so good because of the dialogue, which would be like Seinfeld.
Fucking Seinfeld.
Characters never fucking learn anything in that show.
Nope. Oh man, that is the exception, I do believe. So,
well, the exception in film I would give is Coen Brothers movies are almost always like that, and Coen Brothers movies are very good critically. I don't know what you guys think about them, but most often the characters don't really change or learn anything or whatever, but the dialogue is just so fucking good, and the story usually just ends up going around in a circle without anyone learning anything. It's usually just, this is a fucking weird thing that happened. But anyways, that would be my example of movie that characters don't progress.
Yeah, I think that's accurate too. I want to touch on one other Halloween Ends things before we move on to the Gauntlet, and that's the Myers House. And I'm going to let everybody know now, this is spoilery, not massive spoilers. It's extremely light. A lot of people have seen a lot of things online that certain members of the crew have said certain characters do in Halloween Ends. And I'm not here to confirm or deny any of that. I'm here simply to say that the Myers House, at least as it stands right now, does appear in Halloween Ends. But I know there's been a lot of people that have been lobbying for it to like end at the Myers House. And all I'm going to say is the Myers House is like barely in this movie. It's in this movie so little that it could very easily get cut from the movie. So to me, you got your Myers House. The Myers House was all over Halloween Kills in the flashback and in the modern time, seeing it renovated in a light that we've never seen before. So, having another film that's so heavily based around the Myers House doesn't seem logical. Now, could the house appear in the film more than I believe? It's possible, but as it stands right now, the house is not in the film all that much. Does this bother anybody? For me, I got my Myers House fix. I'm ready to move on. Again, I watch these for more than just nostalgia.
To me, the house means literally nothing. It's just a location. Like, you can have your nostalgia because, oh man, it's the Myers House. That's so cool. But what, unless there's some deep, dark secret about the house that, makes Michael, I don't care if we never see it again. We had the nostalgia stuff in the last movie with, all of the Big John, Little John stuff and, and seeing, basically the recreation of, the reflection in the window and all of those things. And like, we had everything we needed to have. So unless going back to the house is a story point that makes sense, I don't want to see it again because it's just another location that means nothing to the overarching story.
David says
Yeah.
it's on his way out of left field, but Top Gun Maverick is dope as fuck. Now back to Halloween.
Yeah,
I might be going
actually,
to see that this weekend.
I'm going to see it too. I mean, honestly, the just the reviews have been absolutely phenomenal on it, and I'm not even a big Top Gun
box
fan.
office record.
I'm
I'm
not
not
a fan myself, but I was listening to an interview with Tom Cruise today, and like some of the shit that they did with the filming of this, and how low to the ground they get with like actual jets, not CGI shit, is just kind of insane. So I didn't think I would check this movie out, and here I find myself actually kind of wanting to see it simply for the space or the aerial combat.
Well, what, you think you can get a babysitter for Friday? You can come and see it with me.
Oh, not a chance. I'll be on the road Friday. So I got to bring Zachary down. It'll be a next week thing for me. So.
All right.
Anyone else? Halloween ends, the Myers House. Let's have the chat participate for a second. If you're okay with the Myers House not really being in Halloween ends much, put a 1 in the chat if you're okay with that. If you got your Myers House fix and you're ready for the story to move on, I am. If I could put a bunch of, I would.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think I mentioned this in the video that we posted, Sean. We got a lot of it in Halloween Kills. I mean, it's really its own character in a sense. And I'm with Johnny. As long as there's no deep dark reason why Michael is the way he is because of that house, then obviously I'm fine with it. It kind of felt like in Kills they were kind of leaning towards that way, with all he wants to do is kill and go home. Kill and go home. Like he just wants to go home in a sense. So I don't know how they're going to swing away from that, because I felt like so heavily pushed towards in Kills, but they can get around that. And as far as my fix, we got plenty of it. It was literally its own character in the film. So as long as there's no deep connection or ties to making Michael who he is, then I'm good with it.
It's interesting that they would throw you off again, because they had Michael going after Laurie, and then them explaining like he's not going after you, he didn't give a shit. And now they're like, he's going home, he always goes home, and then they're gonna be like, he didn't give a shit about his home. Like they're just like trying to bash around everything that people say. Like, well, Michael does this all the time. They're like, yeah, you don't, not in our trilogy.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like Dean said, he creeps, he kills, he goes home. That's all. That's what the point of it was. He just wants to go home. So I don't know how they're gonna get around that. I'm sure they'll come up with some simple thing, that a one-liner or 2 sentences or whatever to get around that.
So yeah, if you want more Halloween content, we got 3 videos that are up recently. They're all doing very well. So thank you for those who have come out and leaved a like and or dropped a like and left a comment. It really is appreciated. Halloween ends, the state of Haddonfield. Halloween ends, Glass Hill, which we did not touch on in this stream because the video literally just came out today. So go watch it. And then Halloween ends, the Myers House. We have our Lambkin Lane show coming up this Sunday night. And we're in spoiler territory at this point. So if you're tuning into Lambkin Lane, you're tuning in fully knowing that we're probably talking Halloween end spoilers. And so we're going to look at that. And this weekend specifically, we're going to have a look at one Laurie and Hawkins on the Lambkin Lane Patreon show. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so going over to patreon.com/Fandom Empire. We really appreciate everybody that feels like it's worth their time and hard-earned money to support the channel on that level. So it really does mean a lot. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep the ball rolling. If I don't choke. We have another new segment.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I was talking and I was muted and I didn't realize.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. It was my fluff.
I had no idea.
Yeah, but before we go, I know he's in the green room, so I have to ask the question I'm sure is on Jared's mind greatly.
He's not in the green room.
Okay, well, either way, he might be watching, he might not be. I don't care, but I have to ask the question that I know is on his mind. When did Haddonfield become a state? It's always been a city.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so obviously you've seen him say that. You just okay.
But even if I hadn't,
Oh,
it's
come
a question
on.
you would ask.
Come on.
Did he actually
That's-
ask that question in one of the chats? I did. Okay, I was just channeling because that's the kind of question he would ask.
Oh my god! Yeah, get the fuck out.
Can we not have Jeremy here when we don't have Jeremy here?
Hang on a second. Hey, Beth, fuck off. Don't come back. That's right. You can fucking leave that shit and get the fuck out. None of that shit here. I don't care who you are. You'll be gone in a fucking instant. It's 2022. Grow the fuck up.
Heard
I
Anyway.
want to see that comment now.
It wasn't acceptable in 1922.
No, it wasn't. But my point is, like, fucking society seemingly hasn't changed all that much. So certainly not going to allow that shit here. Anyways, the fucking gauntlet. All right, so the Gauntlet is a little news segment each week where one of us will bring a little news tidbit to the table. What the hell did I just see, Johnny?
That was me muting because I was coughing.
You're
mint in my mouth.
Okay, so there was no muted, and this is all we see. I'm just like,
Well, I muted on the.
oh,
So you didn't see the light on the microphone, but yeah, I started coughing.
John-
I have,
Johnny
a mint,
likes
I have a mint in my mouth, and that is, I don't want to choke on the mint. That'd be bad.
All right, so let's the Gauntlet each week. One of us will bring a news topic to the table where we discuss it very briefly. Literally, each topic's about a minute or two tops. These are topics that we didn't have time to get to on the main show. Or the main feature topics. So let's get to it. I provided the 5 for today because we didn't really have time to go over it. Moving forward next week, we'll all bring one. Kieran, let's start with you, man. Their silence on a Rick and Morty. Is it season 5, the new season, or is it 6?
6.
6. So it's been radio silence on an official announcement about the Rick and Morty show returning. I was reading an article. I sent you a message about this earlier that was talking about how Amazon has Lord of the Rings, HBO has Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Disney Plus has Andor. All 3 of those shows are going to be going at the exact same time with slightly different launch dates. And this article stated that they believe that Rick and Morty was going to drop on Labor Day weekend. Now, I don't have anyone to source back to. I'll try to find it and then put it out there. But have they ever dropped a season in and around Labor Day? And does this make any sense to you? And I know I think other people watch Rick and Morty here too, so feel free to chime in after Kieran.
So the last season dropped in June. So obviously we're getting right around that time. This season, we've never had any idea when it was dropped. We've known for a long time that it's been written. It's been, we don't know if it's been completed, but it's been being worked on forever. So, like, the belief is always that it's ready to go and we have no idea when it's coming. The writing has already been done for season 6 and 7, and they just started writing season 8. So they're way ahead on writing. Obviously, animation takes a long time, and you don't write it and then it's done unless you're South Park and you can fucking just draw it up super quick. But I believe that it will come out, what makes sense to me, I guess, is around that time, I guess. It's hard because people have been saying and pointing at things like it was supposed to be released in May. A lot of people have been saying May, but now that May's almost done, people are saying it's going to be June, July, August, all time. Like, The one thing that did happen was they just announced that they were going to do an anime show. It is going to be a full season, completely different, staff working on that. So it doesn't bother the regular show's, release date at all or anything like that. But yeah, they have incredible silence on this show. Nobody knows shit. Nobody knows anything about the plot. Nothing's been leaked. There's been nothing characters. We don't know any of the guests.
Right? They have dropped.
Sorry?
They have just dropped a season before, just randomly on a whim, have they not?
They released an episode randomly on April Fool's Day without telling anybody. So there was actually zero marketing for it. the only people that saw it were watching that channel at that time and were like, what the fuck? I've never seen this Rick and Morty before. Which is crazy unheard of, because most shows would, at the very least, tell everybody the day before, like, it's April Fool's or whatever, or you would hear something. But they're very good at they're very good at keeping completely contained in the Rick and Morty camp. So nobody even knows. I mean, usually by now we know a couple of guest stars and things like that, because things get released on Twitter. The voice actor will be like, hey, just got done doing my lines for the new season of Rick and Morty, and you'll be like, okay, so this so and so was on it. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. Which has been great, because I do a Rick and Morty show on this network, and I was like, you know what, we should probably wait and stop doing shows while there's no content. And there's been like zero content Rick and Morty wise since then, so I'm happy to come back very soon, but we need to find out when that release date is.
But do you think there's a chance it could be Labor Day? Like, I know it's a completely different genre, but man, if this channel has to cover all four of those things at the same time, it's going to be insane.
Because it's Rick and Morty, I wouldn't be surprised if it's tomorrow. Like,
wow,
they don't give a shit. They don't care.
Be a Ram Day someday over the summer. They'll be like, new season drops tonight. But what? Huh?
How awesome!
Yeah, they honestly,
in a day where you're in an age where it's so hard to have surprises in the entertainment field anymore. Period. To be able to still have that is really cool. I know some people might not like it, but I think it's awesome.
Well, and it's nonsensical, because they don't. If they don't promote it, they get lower views, right?
Yeah.
If people don't know about it, and they don't, Rick and Morty just likes to buck the trend and do whatever the hell they want to do. So they want to be unique. They always want to be crazy unique. They would rather than people tune into the one episode, they would rather have people be like, what the fuck? They didn't even tell us. And market it that way. Have people be like, what the fuck are they doing? So
yeah, I guess we'll be seeing the return of the Rick and Morty fan show before we know it. I would think. I mean, I thought that I seen somewhere that it was confirmed it would be released at some point this year.
This year has been. I don't know if it's officially. Yeah, no, it has been officially confirmed at Adult Swim Fest. There was some sort of announcement that involved this year, but no date at all. No, not like.
Put it past them to wait until New Year's Eve.
I could go ahead and tell you I think it's going to happen, in the next 2 months, but that would be based on just me thinking, hey, they released it in June last year. They said they were going to, they were promising that they had hired a lot of staff, have their own studio, got all their shit together, as Rick and Morty, as Morty would say, but who knows?
Time will tell. And I'm assuming you'll be all over it when it happens. Let's shift gears here. I'm going to touch on this one personally. There's a rumor, and it's only rumor for now, that the casting for Ezra Bridger for the Ahsoka series is done. And it's coming from Making Star Wars, although they stressed it's only a rumor. But they also backed it up with, they basically are in the same position we've been in before with certain Halloween information, where we have one source confirm something and the other just can't yet. So they have it as a rumor, and they're going the route of an unknown actor. It would seem like an unknown actor from India. I don't even have his name here, but you know what? Let me just start off with this. Star Wars is known for going for unknown actors, and say what you want about Star Wars, their reputation with selecting unknown actors, pretty good, minus the guy that Kieran doesn't like, which I think is fair. You could say that was a miss. There would have been better opportunities and probably better people to play Anakin, even though I like Hayden. But Harrison Ford barely worked before Star Wars. American Graffiti and I think 2 other things. Mark Hamill barely worked before Star Wars. Carrie Fisher barely worked before Star Wars. Daisy Ridley, say what you want about the sequel trilogy, I loved her in it. Barely.
Did we cover Carpenter Ford?
Carpenter Ford, yeah. Oh man.
I mean, he literally skipped a carpentry job to audition for Star Wars. Like, I mean, it doesn't get more unknown than
Well,
that.
you heard whose carpenter he ended up being. Tell me you've heard the story. He was George Lucas's carpenter. Or sorry, no, I think he was Francis Ford Coppola's carpenter.
Okay, that makes more sense.
He left that to go, and Lucas had seen him before because he used to interact with Ford Coppola, worked under him actually during that time, too. So I think Ford thought he was crazy.
That sounds like George Lucas. Like, oh, he does really great work. He's good with a hammer. Put him in the movie.
Some horns for that one. So yeah, we'll have to see. But I'm not against an Ezra Bridger being an unknown actor. It also seems to rule out the fella who played Aladdin. I think his name was Mehdi Massoud, who I thought was actually quite good in Aladdin too. I didn't mind that movie at all.
I mean, Ezra Bridger, if you haven't seen Rebels, is a fucking unknown character. So, what difference does it make?
At this point, he's not.
You got to remember, Ezra's one day younger than Luke and Leia. Their stories kind of line up here, and it sounds like Ezra's also been given a uniform comparable to some stuff we've seen Kyle Katarn and Starkiller use before in Ahsoka. So that's not something that leaked visually over the weekend. But yeah. Mike, on the Stranger Things 5 front, man, I know season 4 is not over yet, but for you it almost is. There's only 2 more parts. How long is the wait?
4.5 hours.
Right, but that'll go by in a hurry. We know how that is. How long do you think the wait's going to be for season 5? It was almost, what was it, 3 years between 3 and 4?
Yeah, I mean, obviously COVID played a big factor in that, and then again, the links for the episodes for this season. I mean, there's so much storytelling. I think in total it's like 13 and a half to 14 hours or something like that in total, just for 9 episodes. So, I don't think that the episodes are going to be that long in season 5. I think we'll get about 9 to 10 episodes in season 5. I would say between 50 minutes to an hour, back to what it used to be, would be my guess. But honestly, it all depends on filming, man, or when they start to film. I can I don't know how quickly that's going to get picked up. I'm not sure what the actors and actresses have lined up. Looking ahead, I would say probably a year and a half to 2 years would be my guess if I had to guess.
It's crazy that some of these TV series now take so long to come back out, when back in the day, for the most part, it was unheard of to see a TV series break for 2 or 3 years. And now, not just because of COVID either, but now it's a far more common thing.
Yeah, like I think runtime plays a factor in that as well. So I mean, a good example is that would be like this past year in 2021, Cobra Kai released 2 seasons, the beginning of the year and then at the very end of the year. But they were only 10 episodes at 29 to 30 minutes a piece compared to a full hour. So runtime plays a factor, along with obviously scheduling as well for the actors and actresses going forward. So if I had to guess, I would say about a year and a half is when we'll see season 5.
Interesting. We'll definitely talk more Stranger Things as we go here. Johnny, Indiana Jones 5. We know how much you love 4. I was there with you that night.
I've never been more grateful to not have paid for a movie ticket in my entire life.
Yeah, not only did we score free tickets, we had I think it was it CP24 or whatever? Global stuck a camera in her face coming out of the theater. So,
it was very hard to put a smile on my face and try not to be like, that was garbage.
Yeah, we all said it was like really good. And we were all thinking, not so much. Indy 5, man, directed by James Gold, produced by Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall. It sounds like George Lucas was able to give his thoughts on certain things and opinions and ideas. Same with Steven Spielberg. What's this movie got to do as Harrison, like to stick the landing as Harrison Ford's last time as Indiana Jones?
Well, I mean, it has to be grounded in proper mythology. I mean, I think every Indiana Jones movie prior to 4, you had that, mythological MacGuffin. You had the chamber. You had the Ark of the Covenant. You had I can't remember what the MacGuffin was in Temple. I can't remember what the diamond was called, but you had that whole thing, and then you had gods. You had the chalice, and then 4, you come around to the crystal skull. Like, it was just so out of place in every story that had come before it, whereas everything was grounded in mythological stories that come, you had biblical, you had tribal, you had a bit of everything in there, and all of a sudden aliens. Like, I didn't like any of that. I don't know. For me, it's going to be tough because I have a hard time with Indiana Jones not being against the Nazis. Like, just on principle. That's, Indy versus Nazis. That bread and butter. But, it just needs to be a good story that makes sense for Indiana Jones to be chasing a MacGuffin in his 70s.
I love Indy, and there are parts of the 4th movie that I still do like. But it's... I don't know. But I love James Mangold. I think he's a genius director, and I think that they have a chance to stick the landing on this one, and we'll definitely be talking about Indiana Jones the more.
Can't be worse than the last one. Which is ironic, because that's usually what... Well, I mean, look at Indiana Jones. Like, if you look at it, 1, great. Temple of Doom, not quite as good. 3, great. 4, crap. So, statistically, we're due for a great.
I see Tommy's handling the dick fucks. Good.
No, that was me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was not me.
And then last but not least in the gauntlet, Knights of the Old Republic 2 is getting a port over to the Nintendo Switch, which is pretty cool news to begin with anyways, because I've wanted to play Knights of the Old Republic 2 again for many, many, many years. But this time, it's the less buggy version. It includes all of the patch stuff, which is kind of shocking. That they're doing this, and I'm really excited for it. And Tommy B, you said before the show to us, you typically do not buy these re-releases. Does the fact that this is I forget what the technical name is, but the patch DLC content they had come out with, which adds a ton more story, a ton more conversations on the gauntlet. It remains to be seen if the HK-47 planet is being added or not. But there's just like full subplots removed from this game, and obviously the big one being the ending of the game as well. Does it at all make you consider spending the $15 American it's going to cost for this?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing with these games. When they come out, they go for, like that, $15 American. They go on sale too. So if you want to get it a little bit cheaper, that's totally possible. I ended up paying like maybe $5. It could have been $7 for Episode 1 Racer when that went out. Totally fine. No arguments here. It's a great game from my childhood. Probably first Star Wars game, home console I ever owned for the N64. But yeah, I don't own Jedi Outcast. I don't own Jedi Knight Academy for the Switch because I've played those games so many times on the Xbox and such. I may pick them up eventually if I could get like a real good sale. But you just don't see Switch games drop as low as they do for, let's say, an Xbox sale. It's just not something they do. But the fact that we're going to get the restored content mod or whatever they call it, that really is... that's a thinker there. I have played through a mod some years back that did include the HK-47 planet, and it was pretty freaking enjoyable. So just getting to go through all that again, and in a stable version, put on my Switch, that's something I never even did before, So it's... the allure is there, right? right? It's there. So it's definitely one to consider.
Yeah. I'm gonna get it. It's a must for me. I won't lie. We were talking before the show, and I had forgot that they did a Pod Racer port over. I actually kind of want to get that now. So looking forward to that.
You got episode 1 Racer. You got the Jedi Knight, Outcast and Academy.
Yep.
You've got Republic Commando. Is there anything I'm missing? Or is that everything they've ported? Yeah, and they've ported Coder 1 as well, of course. They haven't ported yet, to the best of my knowledge, and what I would like to see. Okay, I'd like to see everything, honestly. But
I take
Dark Forces
again.
Dark Forces, Jedi Knight, the original Dark Forces 2, and the DLC for that. Well, not DLC.
You just want to see them port everything over.
Just fucking port everything.
Port it all.
But Shadows of the Empire.
Man, they'd have to clean that up a bit. But man, if there's a game I'd love to see remade in today's graphics and shit, Shadows of the Empire would be so much fun. I would fucking be all over that. I'd go to a midnight release for that shit. So, where did I see it? Melissa said, "Don't see Dave McRae on YouTube no more." He's on YouTube, and in fact, Dave and I spoke the other day. He's going to be on here actually in the relatively near future. And usually it's just the two of us, but Dave and I both talked, and we want to get the rest of the guys involved. So we'll have a deep Halloween discussion with him and keep everybody involved and engaged. So, yeah, and I know he's really busy right now too, though. He's got a bunch of stuff that he's doing, and so be on the lookout for all that good shit. Anyways, we got to get Mike B out of here. Mr. Bish, thanks for doing this, man. I know Stranger Things is hot. And you're ready for it. What do you got going on, man? I believe you have a podcast.
Yeah, you can first you can follow me on Twitter at MichaelBish_ and on Instagram at MBish_. But I do have a podcast. It's called the Take One Podcast. It's available on all major platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Whatever you listen to your podcasts on. Episode 6 dropped last week. I did an interview with Kevin L. Johnson, who plays Sam Dermody in Ozark and plays a young Victor Creel in the upcoming, now released season of Stranger Things 4. So, good conversation with him. So go check that out. And I'll have a new episode released this week, talking all things spoilers for season 4 of Stranger Things. So,
Mike, you remember that discussion we had about spoilers?
Yeah.
Young Victor Creel?
Oh, that's not a spoiler. It was one of the teasers they dropped. One of the 4 teasers they dropped.
Was it? I don't recall that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you a pass this time.
All right.
Plenty of spoilers today, guys.
To me, he's only been mentioned like twice where I'm at. So it's like, young.
Yeah, it was before that downtime where they were really struggling to put out content. We were like, what the hell is taking so long? And I think they released 4 teasers in total before they dropped the posters and the release date, and I think it was the 3rd teaser released on that one. So
okay,
nice. Well, Mike, thanks for coming out tonight, man. It's really appreciated.
Yep.
Hopefully you enjoyed the new show style. Obviously, tonight was a big show for us. There's so many topics that are at the forefront right now. We're doing Halloween Ends content, and we're in our stage where we're doing it from now until the movie, basically. But like Star Wars had the biggest week that they've had ever, maybe. And then Stranger Things broke all the Netflix records. So it's like, there's only so much time. And then there was an AEW pay-per-view that lasted 74 hours. So there was that too. So there's lots to get to and not enough time to do it all in. But anyways, appreciate you coming out, man. And we have another Halloween Ends video dropping later this week. Correct me if I'm wrong. We've done so many of them now. I believe it's on the atmosphere of the movie. Is it not the other one?
it is.
Yes. So we get into the mood and the atmosphere, a Dave McRae line, if you will, of Halloween Ends. And that video should drop probably Friday morning. So be on the lookout for that. Anyways, thanks for doing this, dude.
Yep. Have a good show.
Absolutely. Well, when we kill time for Tommy B in the meantime, we're going to take 60 seconds. I'm going to refill my drink. I don't know if anybody else needs a drink, and we'll be back in 60. maybe 45. We'll see.
And we're back with the Fandom Empire Show, episode number 1. Hello there. And we're saying that can only mean one thing. That this series that we first talked about way back in, I believe it was 2016, on Star Wars Wastelands, when it was originally a movie, has finally come out. And if you're Star Wars obsessed, Johnny and I will be on a little later tonight, or this morning, at 2:30 a.m. Eastern, talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi and previewing the episode, giving our predictions. And again, I'll say right off the top, don't let anyone spoil episode 3 for you. Don't do it. There's a couple people that have not got to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi here on the channel. And Johnny oh, sorry, Tommy's not even here. There we go. You and I are going to take a back seat for a little bit here, and we're going to put these guys up into the top spots. And Kieran, let's start with you, man. Obi-Wan Kenobi, let's just focus on episode 1 for now. Your thoughts, man, after, I mean, we've talked about it at least for a couple years now, and I'm sure you heard about it before then.
Yeah, no, I remember when it was going to be a movie. I remember when they were going to do Star Wars, presents Boba Fett and Star Wars presents Kenobi, and they were, thinking that they were going to do just independent movies on characters that, people liked. And, so many ideas came out, whether they were official or not, about what that could be and when it could be. And Kenobi's just kind of been a thing that, fans have made fan posters and fan ideas and speculation and rumors and things since then. So for years and years and years. And I gotta say, this has been fantastic. Absolutely amazing. Without getting into any spoilers, since we're trying to keep it, I guess, just one. Well, you're muted, but I think you're saying don't worry about spoilers.
Don't worry about spoilers. We'll give a spoiler warning now. It's
okay.
In like 5 days. If you haven't seen episodes 1 and 2, sorry, this is our spoiler warning. Feel free to spoil everything, but let's focus on episode 1 for now.
Well, I have to say there's some parts that people didn't like, and those things, I'm only gonna validate like legitimate opinions, not the silly garbage stuff. A lot of people complained that it was a little bit slow, and there wasn't a lot of action to begin with, and that seeing Obi-Wan do his job where he gets shipped out and has to cut meat out of a dead animal. They found that to be annoying that they would show that over and over again. But I think they're doing the best type of storytelling for, they're showing that, this is breaking his spirit, and this is, he's doing his job, but he's continually just has to not help people, go about his business. He knows that as soon as he starts helping out people on the planet, someone's going to notice. He obviously he doesn't get to stick up for this other guy who's getting, I guess, not paid enough or whatever, complains about his family can't live off this. I thought that was all really important parts of the storytelling. However, I knew that the Star Wars fan base wasn't going to be a big fan of that. And, absolutely not blaming the Star Wars fan base, because if you're a fan of Star Wars, you're a fan of crazy space battles and all that stuff. That's what Star Wars has been for the most of Star Wars, and even the older movies are a little bit slower paced, but for older movies, for that time, they're not. So people who are Star Wars fans, I get it. But however, I really loved that. I loved how they showed the character. I loved how they showed his life being pretty garbage and shit, and he just has to deal with it to do his duty and stick by. And I really enjoyed the character being I can't do this, admitting, I don't remember this. I can't really remember what was episode 1 and 2 because I watched them together, but You're muted again.
Episode 1 is Tatooine.
Sorry?
Episode 1 is Tatooine.
Okay. Saying that he can't do this, like get someone else to go and, deal with your problems. I'm not that guy anymore. Like, not only is he, like, he's not just sitting there waiting and then he's gonna, jump out and be Obi-Wan Kenobi again. He's like, I'm gonna die on this planet and I'm just gonna make sure nobody finds out about Luke. Like, I thought it was great because I think most people understood that he was incognito and he was hiding the whole time, but then he would come out and be, Ben Kenobi again, Obi-Wan Kenobi again, and he really isn't. He's really like, I'm Ben Kenobi now. That's what I am. I'm just going to make sure that nobody finds out about Luke, and I'm going to fucking die a miserable existence because I'm a failure. And, it's deep. I thought it was great.
For Star
I thought
Wars,
it was a great idea.
For Star Wars, it's extremely deep, and I think that bothers people. But you know what? I loved it.
I liked it a lot, but I think it's legitimate. Like, I think it's legit for people to be like, that's not Star Wars. Like, that, I think that's okay. That's a fine opinion. It's not, that doesn't belong with the other opinions that are coming out and everyone knows who it is. And those opinions are trash. Like, those are fucking get out of here stupid opinions. If you think it's too slow paced, that's legit criticism because Star Wars has never really been this slow paced. You pretty much have to read books to get that sort of pace. And, a lot of people who are into Star Wars are not, not book readers. If you don't, not the people that take a time to read a very long novel. So,
Tommy, your thought, if you guys just want to tackle the first 2 episodes, you can do that if that makes it easier. Johnny and I didn't watch the episodes together, right? So we got to experience them both separately and then had a gap in between. But continued thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Kenobi, guys?
So I think you and I are the only ones on this panel who went into this knowing what this was going to look like, at least plot-wise. We heard leaks.
Yes, Leia was not a surprise to us.
Yeah. Phenomenal. I'll just straight up say phenomenal. This is the first time we're getting something like this. And I think episodes 1 and 2 really did it. They really did it. Episode 1 was certainly more enjoyable than 2 for me personally, but I also didn't necessarily have any great issues with episode 2, honestly. We're really seeing that side of Ben Kenobi that we haven't seen in this way before, and it really hits home for any Star Wars fan, I would think. And you wouldn't be a Star Wars fan if you didn't acknowledge the elephant in the room, and that is the haters hating on any number of things just for, an actress. For whatever reason you don't like her. We know the reasons they say are varied, but I can't get over I can't get over any of the issues, but the one that I was seeing more frequently of those 2 were the ones that were attempting to rip apart Leia. They don't want to see Leia. They say, I wasn't expecting that. What is this? She's a terrible pick. She's terrible. Number 1, she's a fucking kid. Shut the fuck up. But number 2, did we watch the same thing?
Clearly not.
Because what I saw was fucking fantastic. I don't think they could have picked a better little girl to portray a young Leia Organa.
Let's provide some context, too. Vivian Lyra Blair was 8 when she filmed this, playing the part of a 10-year-old, which means her biggest film that she's most known for is Bird Box, which means she was 4 when she filmed that. Not only is her performance fantastic, I know why people are pissed off about the one chase scene, and I'll admit, it doesn't look very good. But you also have to understand that in the second chase scene where Kenobi's chasing after her, he can't just bolt towards her. He can't be like, hey, kid, they're looking for them. He needs to sort of like be sneaky about it. I'm sure like anybody who has kids, if their kid's ever been in like a certain position, like if they're playing or playing on a playground, you might tiptoe to get to them because they might bolt the other way. It's a common theme. The chase scene on Alderaan, even I'll admit, it's not very good. But it's not her fault. Like, fuck. Like, don't blame her. It's one minor nitpick in what I thought was the best episode of Star Wars TV that we have ever gotten, bar none. And I'll go as far as to say, again, it's just my opinion, that Vivian Lyra Blair is the best child performer we've ever had in a Star Wars movie. And it's really not even close.
I don't understand the thing I don't understand with the chase scene that gets so much hate. And yeah, it was someone described it as it's like Home Alone, and I was like, okay, that's fair. But like, did it really ruin anything? Did that really?
Not for me.
Like, did that really it didn't bother me, and I'm not everyone.
They also try not to hurt her either. Like, they can't hurt her. Like, even the Inquisitors say to, I think it's the fifth brother and the Grand Inquisitor say to Reva, like, you just kidnapped the senator's daughter. People don't understand that even though the Empire is in its heyday right now, the Senate is still a thing, and they can't just go fucking blowing up planets yet. So, you know, that is another thing.
They don't get rid of the Senate until the start of New Hope, right? Because he says like, we fucking got rid of them in A New Hope is one of the lines where he's just like, we got rid of the Senate.
Yeah, the movie people claim had no political talk, which just, I guess people's opinions are what they make of them. And right now they're out there very loudly for a lot of people. I just want to say, who cares what, like if Kieran hated Kenobi, that would not affect my love for Kenobi. I really don't like The Last Jedi all that much. That doesn't ruin Kieran's love for The Last Jedi. At least it shouldn't. Don't let other people's opinions on things sway you, good or bad. Your opinion is your own, is what I would say. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, if I didn't notice something while I was watching it, like I really didn't notice the chase scene was that bad when I was watching it.
It looked like chasing a child.
Once I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, that was kind of like whatever. Like, I guess that was kind of silly that they weren't able to get her and whatever. But I like, at the same time, I was like, when I was watching it, I was fucking riveted. I didn't care. I was enjoying the show. So, I mean, the worst comment that I heard was someone said that the actress that plays Reva was wooden. And I was like, if anything, you don't like her. She was the other way. She was way too animated. And I think that she's awesome. But to say that she was like a wooden actress, like that's
she's got the most fight in her.
Yeah, I was just like, I get like that person obviously doesn't know what they're talking about. So
there's a lot of,
what are you dealing with, buddy?
There's a lot of people, and we've seen it in the chat tonight, that just want to spread racial hate. It's one thing if you legitimately don't like a character, but this shit has been going on not just in Star Wars fandom, but in fandom since the beginning of time. And now there's social media, so it's more vocal. But like, seriously, the amount of like content creators that have millions of followers that talk about this shit and don't know simple thematics of Star Wars movies is mind-boggling. You are giving these people all your fucking money, your hard-earned money, and they don't know the most simple of things of Star Wars. It really makes you wonder. I don't want to get into the whole true fan thing, but there are certain things that you should just fucking know in Star Wars. Kieran just mentioned the Senate goes into New Hope. Like, it's well known. And here's what I don't get. I'm going to pull her up here for a second. This character, Reva, I've had no problem with her so far. And here's why. I'm privy to knowing the leaks, as some of you guys are. Like, think about her. You just said that she's overly aggressive and overly animated. Almost doesn't fit in with the Inquisitors. It's almost like her story parallels someone else's story we've seen in the prequels, who's in this fucking series. But let's not put that together. Let's not do that, you know. Let's not be logical about this. And it just drives me at the fucking wall. Sorry.
It doesn't bother me very much because, I mean, we talked a little bit about this part when we were watching the wrestling show the other night. You know, like, to me, I just believe that people on the internet are just like fucking the people on the internet are those that 5% of people who just fucking want to go on and jerk themselves off and have a fucking party with the other guy, like, so they can all be like,
Jerk
oh yeah, that was
themselves
fucking
off
terrible,
and
blah,
have
blah,
a
blah,
party
and
with the other guy.
they just all fucking jerk off and fucking talk about how great their opinions are. Like, that, whatever, who cares? Like, I don't give a shit what you guys want to do. When I talk to people I know in real life, they're all fucking jazzed about this show. They all love it. I know plenty of fans from the super hardcore to the, like, I have a friend, another dad on my daughter's hockey team, and he always comes to me and he's like, hey, when's that show coming out? Like, he's like a very casual Star Wars fan. And I tell him when trailers drop and stuff like that. He fucking loves it. So from the fan who's just casually into Star Wars to the fan like my one of my best friends who's been a Star Wars fan, it's his number one thing his whole life. They all fucking love it, and they don't have shit to say like that. So I don't care about the people on the internet who are fucking being like, oh, well, I don't like Reva's character because she didn't do this, and it's like, well, she's been in 20 minutes on screen, so you hate the character already? Like, fuck off.
Not even really. I mean, there's people that were like, she's gonna get more screen time than Obi-Wan. The screen time wasn't even close. Obi-Wan.
I see people saying like, oh, her character arc is garbage, and it's like, she's been that's fucking 2 episodes. The arc isn't complete. Like,
yeah, it's not a single movie. It's like one big movie split into 6 parts. It's not The Mandalorian either. It's not the Book of Boba Fett. It's not episodic TV. It's one long story that has been split into 6 parts.
How does they're saying, how do they know that? How could she possibly know that Anakin is Darth Vader? Like, well, like, did you see the first part? Why did they show those kids in the temple? I wonder, was that just to fucking show that happened?
You're being far too logical now for some fans.
It's almost as if they saw that guy murder children.
Man. Yeah, and almost like the clone troopers called him Lord Vader the entire time and not Anakin. Wow. Like, you don't need leaks to put that together, people. You legitimately don't.
So people who say things like that, this is my advice for all the Star Wars fans. Don't reply to them. Don't send them. Don't be like, hey, this is like, you're wrong, this, whatever. Just fucking let those people be those people. Find groups. I'm a part of many Star Wars groups who are positive. You can find them. Just every time you see a bunch of shit on the same one, you leave that group and you fucking go find people who are happy. Just find people who want to be happy. It's easy.
There's nothing wrong with being critical over something if it's legitimate and you have an issue with it. But the people that want to spin this into just something else is, whatever.
When Star Wars, like actual Star Wars Twitter account, has to put out posts saying, "Don't be racist." You've crossed the zeitgeist. I mean, Marvel doesn't have to do that. DC doesn't have to. Nobody, literally no other fan base that I'm a part of has ever had to make a post that says, please don't be racist.
And you know what it is?
But it was really commendable that they did do that.
I'm not knocking Star Wars for doing it. I'm saying I'm knocking the part of the fan base that requires that to be said. Like,
there's plenty of people. There's plenty of people pissed at that too. Plenty of people out there are like, how dare they tell us how to act? And it's like, they're telling you not to be racist,
right? It's ridiculous.
They're not telling you not to disagree with us. They're not telling you can't think our content sucks.
If you take issue with someone saying don't be racist, they're probably racist.
Take a good long look in the mirror and ask yourself,
that means they're only out there to offend, like, the people who they're offending are the people they're telling. So that means you are, like,
when
I saw that message, I was like, oh, cool, this doesn't pertain to me because I'm not being a racist.
Yeah, it's fucked, man. It really is. And honestly, we're about to play something here. I have no idea what this says. I have a feeling it might be following up on what you said. Ewan McGregor has put out a personal message that Star Wars and the Obi-Wan Kenobi account have retweeted. No idea what it's going to say. I don't think we'll get stripped down for this because it's Twitter, but let's play it.
This weekend, Star Wars fans made Obi-Wan Kenobi the most watched Disney Plus original series premiere of all time. And for that, I would say a big thank you. And it just goes to show what this family can do when we all pull together. However, it seems that some of the fan base from this influential fan base have decided to attack Moses Ingram online and send her the most horrendous racist DMs. And I heard some of them this morning and it just broke my heart. Moses is a brilliant actor. She's a brilliant woman. And she's absolutely amazing in this series. She brings so much to the series. She brings so much to the franchise. And it just sickened me to my stomach to hear that this had been happening. I just want to say, as the leading actor in the series, as the executive producer on the series, that we stand with Moses. We love Moses. And if you're sending her bullying messages, you're no Star Wars fan in my mind. There's no place for racism in this world. And I totally stand with Moses.
The fact that he has to fucking do that is disgusting. Like, they literally put that out while we were on air. It's like, and believe it or not, some of these people go on about, well, this isn't my Star Wars, and I don't care if they ever do it again. And it's like, really? Because then what else are you going to fucking bitch about? What else are you going to get your super chat money on and your clicks on? Because if they don't do it anymore, you're not going to have content to fucking create, dipshits. And like, people don't get that a guy like Ewan McGregor, even though he's getting paid a shit ton of money to do this, when this type of thing happens in this day and age, it makes people think twice about whether they're going to do it or not again. That's just a fact. And this is a guy that they're already actively courting to do more. So as he mentioned, not just the actor, an executive producer on the show as well, who had lots of say in where the story went. And you've now pissed him off too. So congratulations. I would ask this, not that I want to rally one part of the fan base. If there was ever a time to like share your opinion or standing with someone going through this, now is it. Allow the positivity to be heard more than the negativity. The shit that is going on is not constructive criticism. It's BS. And like Kieran, I know far more just everyday Star Wars fans, not like super diehards that have to go on YouTube and watch what every content creator says. Just people that love Star Wars, and when something comes out and watches it. Funny enough that all those fans, or most of those fans, fucking love this. And another thing I want to pull up, I don't know if it's still the same here. And this is always telling. And this always made me wonder with The Last Jedi. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes right now and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we all know what the popular thing for the fan base to do is with audience scores, they'll go and they'll fucking slam it if they don't like it, and they'll create new accounts. Obi-Wan Kenobi's audience score is 71%. The critic rating, meaning non-Star Wars fans, I'm sure some of them are Star Wars fans, but non-Star Wars fans, almost 90%. I wonder if there's some hidden agendas being pushed. As much as I didn't like The Last Jedi, as I stated earlier, I thought it was a very well-made film. Rian Johnson did a wonderful job putting it together, and I think it's still in the 90s for the critic rating. And when you see that, that doesn't mean you have to love that movie. No, but it probably means it's far more quality than you're giving it credit for. And
well, I mean, yeah, not liking the direction of a movie is fine. Not being like, oh, the acting in that movie was crap. You're like, you can go look at the critics, and the critics will tell you whether the acting was crap because they review shit they don't even want to see. Like if your job is being a critic, you watch lots of movies that you're like, oh well, I better go review this, and they know acting, they see acting, and they say all the time, Hayden Christensen sucks.
Sorry, I went off there for a bit, guys, and I wasn't expecting to see that drop. No. Tommy, I don't even know if you've had any chance to give your thoughts on Kenobi so far, so if you haven't, please chime in.
I kind of started there, just addressing.
You let us down this path.
I did. I think it's just fucked up, and I think the fans need to call out the shit I think it's necessary. You know, people just want to act shitty. Whether it's racism, whether it's picking on a little girl, fuck off, for real. But beyond that, I already said this is phenomenal. I'm loving it. And yes, since we're full spoiler, they haven't given it to us completely yet whether Obi-Wan was cut off from the Force entirely.
I think he was.
But he was certainly, if nothing else, completely rusty.
I think the implication was he was cut off. And it would make sense because Luke had to learn it from somewhere.
Yeah, by all means. I like the premise of him being cut off, but I don't know if they're going to, explicitly give it to us in that form. No matter what way you look at it, though, what the hell? Okay.
Disappeared into a vortex.
Yeah, basically, right? It's interesting. It really is. And, we see at the tail end of the second episode where the brick hits Obi-Wan in the face. He's still alive. He finds out.
Sorry, let me chime in here because, like we said, we want positivity to be put out there. But Flix joins in and says, "Just joining. What the fuck? Who are these people? I saw episode 4 in theater when I was 11. True fans don't launch personal, racist, or other idiotic attacks. Go away." Amen. Absolutely. You can be critical over whatever entertainment product that you want, but don't go to the lines that they're doing. Tommy, you were saying apologies. Can you remember where you were or no?
Not really, but honestly, what's had to be said will be said. They end this 2-episode premiere on a very good note where we see Obi-Wan getting that revelation. He's still alive. And we pan, of course, over to Vader. We see him, and we hear the breathing. And it's something special right there. We're seeing this event. What'd they call it? A limited event.
That's the reason why the marketing's been so crazy for it.
It's the name is fitting. What we're getting, that it's fitting.
I want to ask you guys some questions, and Johnny, I'm gonna get you in on this one too. Let's start off with this. 2 episodes have aired. I'm not gonna get you guys to pick just one because that wouldn't be fair. But maybe talk about a couple of your favorite parts to do with the 2 episodes. I'll start to give you guys a little bit of time here. My number 1 is the Leia moment with Obi-Wan. By the way, the chemistry that Ewan McGregor and Vivian Lyra Blair have on screen, I think it's very noticeable. Those two together are really good. And I remember finding out that it was going to be Leia was the reason he had to leave. And it made all the sense in the world that would be the one reason that he go. And he actually says no at first. So I love that too, that it's a journey to get there. But the moment where he stops and he's just sort of taking it in, and he tells her that she reminds him of someone, and she asks him if his friend was a Jedi, and he said no, she was a leader, died many years ago, and she's like, I'm sorry, and he's just like, I'm sorry too. I won't lie, full on teared up at that part because, like the prequels or not, at the end of the day, that is Luke and Leia's mom. That is Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker's wife. Their story is a tragic one. And to be Obi-Wan in there, knowing that he has some responsibility to wear for what had happened, that's tough. That was really emotional. That was number 1 for me. And number 2, fucking Owen Lars. Owen Lars is like, fuck you, Obi-Wan. Fuck you, Inquisitors. Don't fucking piss me off. Joel Edgerton is amazing in this. And I can't wait to see more of him. Who wants to go next?
I got 2 that probably won't get brought up, 2 kind of underrated moments. Mm-hmm. And I understand people maybe not liking this, but I loved Kunal Nanjiani. I really loved that. At first, it was like, oh shit, is he really going to be a Jedi or any sort of Force-sensitive guy? And then I was like, if that happens, I'll be kind of pissed. But no, he was a fucking shyster. He was, yeah. So it was awesome. I thought it was hilarious.
Tons of
his type of acting would not have gone well if he was a serious character because if you've seen him in any movie, you know that's not going to go over well. But him being a fucking, like a little bit underhanded, but still a good person, at least we assume. I thought it was great. I liked that part. I thought it was funny. So it was that. Oh, and Obi-Wan talking to the Jawa who come to sell him his own parts.
Yeah.
That was hilarious, and I really loved. I really thought an underrated moment was him looking at the Jedi belt and being like, oh, like this might be interesting or whatever, and then being like, no, actually, no, like you can have it. Like, it was kind of a very symbolic of him being like, no, I've given up this. I'm not even taking a fucking belt. Like,
doesn't even keep his or Anakin's lightsaber in the home with him.
Yeah. No, I really liked I took it as a kind of a symbolism that it was like, for a while he did look at it and be like, remember what I was, remember what this is and whatever. And then he was like, but that's not me anymore. And, he doesn't need it. So I really enjoyed that part. And I always enjoy seeing the actors, especially when they're good at it, like Harrison Ford is, talking to the aliens. Some people, it's really hard for them to talk to a not human or not even, sometimes not even their character. Sometimes it's just a stand-in.
Balance. And I mean, the guy that you just mentioned, Harrison Ford and Ewan McGregor, like, is there a better actor in Star Wars than either of those two? I don't think so.
They're definitely in the top 5 when it comes to Star Wars actors. Harrison Ford
probably. I mean, he hasn't done much Star Wars, but yeah.
Harrison Ford is a good actor overall, like in the actual sense of the word. But when we're talking about Star Wars actors, yes, they're great. Their performances are great, and they're very good at that skill I'm just mentioning now, talking to people who are behind a mask or not even there. And I thought the interaction was great. I really enjoyed that scene. Kind of underrated.
I loved during that scene, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi can be a bit of a snob at times. Like, we seen it in Attack of the Clones, and he kind of goes back to his snobbish ways a little bit, although he's right. If you're going to steal my stuff, can you at least have the decency to clean it? It's just like, that's prime Obi-Wan right there.
It's a good Obi-Wan line.
Perfect to that. That's extra.
That's
like, that was just like perfect. Like,
Johnny, a couple of your favorite parts, man.
Wow, you guys are like, you're leaving me with bones here. You're picking all the good parts.
I mean, you could pick the same part.
But Flea was in it. You could pick that.
I didn't realize that was Flea until afterwards. Like, it didn't hit me as obvious. It was like, it was more, I recognize you. Why do I recognize you? And then we were doing the review, and he was like, and Flea was like, wait, Flea. Oh shit, that was Flea.
It took me about 30 seconds.
He's definitely very sunken in now these days.
The years have not been kind to Flea.
It's possible that he gets into substances every once in a while.
No, not a rock star. Come on, they don't do that.
I mean, I guess if I had to pick parts that, and again, I don't want to pick what you guys have already said, because what's the fun in that? I think for me, one of my favorite parts was, Leia's escape. When she ran away into the forest before, being captured. It's just like, it was the perfect blend of, a Padme mixed with an Anakin. Using the handmaiden like Padme would have done, and being Anakin and just running out into the wilds. It felt like just a perfect moment of, she is. That's a Skywalker.
She's a handful for them. That much is
absolutely.
Cool 3PO cameo too during the Alderaan bits, and quickly before Tommy goes, I loved Alderaan. Loved the way it looked.
Oh yeah.
We don't get enough of those type of planets in live action Star Wars. This is Star Wars. Not everything needs to look like planet Earth, in my opinion. Tommy B, what about you, man? Give us a couple.
So I've
Wait.
already mentioned
Oh,
Vader, so we'll pan
Sorry.
away from that.
I think I might have jumped ahead on Johnny. Johnny, did you say 2 or 1?
I only did one.
Do you have another?
I mean, I could probably think of one.
Okay, well, we'll let Tommy go then. We'll come back to you to finish.
Yeah.
So I've already said Vader, so we'll pan away from that as much as possible. Yeah, you're bad.
That's a private chat, motherfucker. People gotta
Yeah.
pay for private chat. No.
Well, oh well. They'll be all right. Oh shit. Honestly, the power dynamics between Reva and the other Inquisitors, it does make for good storytelling. It does. Just seeing where that goes, how that flows, how Reva is very, I guess you could say, aggressive with the civilian population, whereas the others, they're a little more, slightly more laid back than that. I mean, they're not above going out and doing what they have to do, but they're a little more chill about it. And as for another one, yeah, Obi-Wan's way of breaking out, breaking the what was it, spice or whatever, getting them all high. That was pretty cool. That was cool. Just using using everything you have available to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just want to address something because I almost forgot. Someone commented earlier in the video. I don't remember the fellow's name now, and I don't think the chat goes back that far. But they said the episodes were too short. Episode 1 wasn't too short. It was fine. It was 56 minutes. And quickly, I actually want to talk to you guys about the beginning of episode 1. We can't just go end tonight without talking about the beginning of episode 1. But I will say this: if we're going to hold they're two very different levels of things, but if we're going to hold one group of people accountable, then you also have to hold Kathleen Kennedy and Ewan McGregor accountable, because literally on the same day that this fucking thing aired, in front of Star Wars Celebration crew, they called it 6 one-hour episodes. And I thought episode 1 was better than episode 2, because episode 1, like Kieran was pointing out earlier, had time to breathe. Yeah, we went back and saw Obi-Wan at the meat thing, I think twice. It was maybe a third time. But the point was to be like, hey, this is this dude's life every fucking day. This is his existence. And episode 2, I thought we had that beautiful planet, Daiyu, I think it's called. Looks amazing, resembles Hong Kong. And the first half of the episode is incredibly fucking rushed. And even though I loved the episode, I gave it less points than episode number 1. And I do think, hey, you get up in front of a crowd the day of that it's airing and call it 6 one-hour episodes, and you get a 42-minute episode, and that's including credits. You can't do that. You got to have some accountability. Maybe that'll change, though. I think Stranger Things, Mike said earlier.
Sure not getting the Stranger Things treatment. That's been in the front of my mind ever since those runtimes.
Right.
I don't know if it was a leak or official release.
Let's say episodes 5 and 6 end up being like an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes. They could make up the time. It is a bad PR look, though. And I'm sorry, Star Wars has bad PR. Lucasfilm has bad PR. They've proven that for a while, especially with the Taika Waititi movie thing. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that this weekend. But I agree with the person in the chat. I can't remember who it was, but apologies for getting to your comment so late. Kieran, you're a prequel hater, man, so I gotta ask you about this. You and I watched Attack of the Clones together.
I'm not a prequel hater. I just hate Hayden.
See, I could have swore you've been on here not liking the prequels before.
So you're telling me you hate the primary protagonist of the prequel trilogy, of the Skywalker saga?
Okay, we've already established that he doesn't like Hayden, and
but you are not a prequel hater.
Go on with your question. I watched the prequels like a couple days ago, all 3 of them. I still watch them. Anyways, go on.
Tommy at least watched Phantom Menace. That I do know.
I
Johnny,
watched all
did you watch
3.
any of them leading into this or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking hater.
Johnny remembers everything. Johnny doesn't need to go back and watch it because Johnny remembers everything.
In his Johnny way. We're echoing again here. I'm going to mute you guys here for a second.
Every once in a while,
Oh, sorry, Kieran.
I said every once in a while I compliment Johnny.
Gotcha. So at the beginning, we get what I thought was a very beautifully done 5-minute recap. And for years, I've heard people say if they chopped a bunch of stuff out of the prequels and made them hour-and-a-half movies instead of 2 hour and 15-minute movies, in terms of like how they're critically received, would be way better. Not that I'm not saying I agree with that. We had that beautiful recap at the beginning, which is great for people that, you know, weren't following Star Wars in 99, 2002, 2005, and maybe you've only seen those movies once, if not at all. And then we get the flashback stuff. And I couldn't help it, guys, but the visuals of what they used for the prequels, I don't know if everything was pulled in tighter, like the images, or they've, you know, messed around with the coloring. I literally just watched the prequels. I literally compared frames. They're not the same. They literally altered the look of the footage. Again, I don't know if it's pulling it in more. I don't know if it's messing around with brightness and saturation and just other things with the picture quality and color correction, etc. I just thought that when they showed the prequels during the episode, whether it was the nightmare or the lead-in, I thought it's the best the prequels have ever looked, period. I'd be curious to hear your guys' take on that. And also your take on starting with Order 66.
I thought it was great. I thought they did, I'm not going to go on forever about it, but they did a fantastic job of chopping up certain pieces that you needed to know. They did a good job of making Hayden look good. I'm just going to say that. They were able to chop up decent lines in. Some of them kind of got cut off, and they just took good parts of them. They made those movies look good. Like they made it seem like, oh, I remember all those great parts, and they didn't really give you any of the bad stuff. That, you know, they didn't flash back to someone saying like he's got lots of midichlorians. They did a great job. I thought that was awesome.
One day, I'm going to remember to unmute myself. They legitimately changed the delivery of a couple of lines. Instead of them being more longer and drawn out, they're a little quicker. And I know I literally watched Revenge of the Sith like 2 days before I watched Kenobi.
Or like they took out the part. It was like a full sentence, but they only took the first part out, or the second, yeah. They did a good job. It was good.
It was very well done. Guys, thoughts on the prequel flashback before we wrap things up here for Kenobi?
I mean, they were fine. They didn't, there wasn't too much. There was just enough to sort of, get across the story points they needed to get across. I mean, Kenny said it in the chat. It was previously on Star Wars, and that was exactly what it needed to be. It set the tone. It told you enough of the story to get you to where you were, that if for some reason you haven't seen the prequels and are just starting with Obi-Wan, I mean, one, why? But B, I suppose you could, because of that, minute and a half of, previously on. It just tells you everything you need to know.
I don't know, man. You missed too much, I think. I don't think you got enough to go on off of that.
That's relevant to this story?
I don't know.
So you thought you could have shown more, is what you're saying? I mean, it was 5 minutes long.
It's tough.
Go to bed, Tommy.
How are you going to jump into Obi-Wan Kenobi without even having seen Revenge of the Sith?
Oh, it's obviously like you get more from Obi-Wan Kenobi if you've seen those movies and relatively recently or remember them very well. But Tommy's point that he's bringing up here about possibly wanting even more before seeing it is exactly why the sequels didn't include Star Wars Legends, because they would have had to fucking have 25 minutes at the beginning explaining everything that's happened the last 30 or 40 years. As much as I love Legends, it was not practical to do. It just wasn't. One way or another, those stories were being rewritten or erased. That's simple. Tommy, where can everybody find you at, man?
Wait. because we have to discuss something here.
Okay.
How about that clone veteran?
That wasn't a big deal. I didn't know that was going to happen. It wasn't too big of a deal.
Did nothing for you? Really? Nothing.
That's not Rex. I know there's people saying that's Rex. That's not Rex.
No, that's not Rex. No, by no means.
It was cool. It was cool.
It was a nice little cool moment.
More so
It
on
really
the front, though. It was cool to see clone trooper armor that wasn't CGI.
It shows you that Obi-Wan didn't do like a 180 and hates all clones.
Oh, for sure. Obi-Wan's not that type of guy. He doesn't hate Anakin. Anakin slaughtered younglings, and he still loves the fucking guy. Obviously doesn't condone what he did, but still loves the guy. Anyways, we got more Kenobi coming up later tonight, 2:30 a.m. Eastern. Johnny and I are back with a preview of part 3, not episode 3, because it's not episodic. And then that'll be about a half an hour long, and then we'll come back with an immediate review or recap, and that'll be about 30 minutes long as well. I think we would have found out by now if they were dropping it early. I can't see.
I mean, if it was going to be midnight, I mean, that's 35 minutes from now. So,
I mean, I wish it was, but I don't think that's happening. Anyways, Tommy, where can everybody find you, man?
Floating around Facebook, all of our places, Instagram, and so on and so forth at Tommy B1650.
Thanks for doing this, buddy, and can't wait to talk more Kenobi with you.
We need to do an automated one of those. Just like tape one and replay it every time. Where can you find you at? Dude, we could leave 3 minutes earlier.
But we're not leaving yet. We're getting to Kenobi. Oh, Tommy, don't let anybody spoil it. Not even you know what's coming.
What?
Yeah, Kenobi tonight. Not even you know what's coming. Don't let anybody spoil it for you.
I'm going to message you and you're going to tell me.
No, I'm not telling you shit. Get the fuck out of here. Joining us now, it's Jer, and we're talking AEW Double or Nothing. We have a new AEW World Champion, CM Punk. Lots happened on that pay-per-view. I'm trying my best to remember it all because it was very long. And again, I think we were all really tired before the main event was even starting. Tonight we're going to talk about the Punk match and the MJF thing. And then next week we're going to come back when we don't have the 3 insanely loaded topics we had. And we'll give a lot more time to wrestling. And we'll do the rest of the card. I mean, there might be interesting things to happen on Dynamite this week, too. Kieran, we know you got to go soon, man. Why don't you start us off? I know Jared just joined, but what do you want to talk about more? The Punk match or the MJF situation? I mean, the match, too, I suppose.
I would rather talk about the Punk match. I don't give a shit about the MJF stuff now.
Go ahead.
But that's not even what I want to talk about.
Oh, well then talk about what you want to talk about. Fuck rules.
This is what I want to talk about. The best match on the card was Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. That's my hot take. I thought that match was fantastic. I really loved it. I thought they I made the comment while we were there that I would sign up for watching them wrestle every month for the next 6 months. If they could just do a submission match and then do a, not I Quit, because it's like the same thing, but like they could do one of those WWE style programs where they just fucking do another match in a different type of scenario over and over again. Or, Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black, didn't they do like a best of 7 or something? Or was that Cesaro? I forget. Anyways, they could do a fucking best of 7 match, and I could watch that over and over again. I think it would be welcomed by me. I thought they were fantastic, and I thought that was the best women's match that AEW has put on so far. So a little bit that's my hot take that I really wanted to bring up. That didn't involve either of those 2 matches. So I wanted to bring it up. I thought they wrestled their hearts out, and I'm actually kind of like up and down on Thunder Rosa. Like, I know a lot of people think she's fantastic, like she's the best. She does get high praise from a lot of people. I'm kind of up and down on her, but I thought this match was just absolutely amazing. It kind of stole the show for me when when I thought back about the pay-per-view, like there's a couple kids at my school who really like wrestling, and the next day they'll ask me about what happened. And the first thing I thought of was that match. And I was like, wow, I thought of that match over, CM Punk and MJF and, great tag team matches that happened. And Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly was really good. So, and this is the match I thought was the best match of the show. I don't know what you guys' comments on that are, but I'd love to hear them.
I agree completely with the Kyle O'Reilly Darby match. That was phenomenal stuff.
It
that
wasn't.
was the only women's match that I seen much of. I think I used the word buffer, which might have pissed someone off, and it was not intentionally to piss somebody off. I was super sore that night, and people that don't know what I go through on a daily basis, even to do this show, I literally, when we took like a 3-minute break earlier, that wasn't for a drink. That was to tend to a medical situation. And so when I say buffer, I'm not like most people who go to get high. I go to get high so I don't have to be in extreme pain. So definitely not sex. It's not that anybody said that, but that match was good. But I've always thought that was Serena her name in WWE too?
Yes.
It was. I've always thought that she was good. In the minimal I've seen her, she brings a level of aggression to that division that most of those women at least don't display very much. And I like that. There's nothing wrong with seeing a woman who wants to kick some serious ass and will fucking kick the ref's ass if they have to in order to get to the person. There's nothing wrong with that. And I liked it. And I thought that match was pretty good too myself. It was definitely, I don't know if it was the best, but it was one of the better ones on the card. Sure.
I thought it was... Honestly, I thought when I think of Serena Deeb, I feel like she's like a female Kurt Angle. And watching her wrestle, Thunder Rosa was like, watching, Kurt Angle fight Jericho at the time, or one of those things where it's like, yep, I'll watch this every week. Or I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to say his name, but Chris Benoit, like watching a Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, where it's just like, yep, I'll watch this every week. Go ahead. They can fight over the IC title until fucking 3 years from now, and I'll still watch it, and I'll still fucking eat popcorn and enjoy it. So
I think
I really like the clash of styles.
The most impressive thing for me about that match, and I was very vocal about this, I'd said this to Jared, like, oh, great. We already know the results to the 2 women's title matches tonight. And I'll admit, it got to like 3/4 through that match, and I started thinking, oh, they might put Serena over here. Like, I started believing that was possible. And I think that says a lot if they can make what seems like a very predictable result turn into a question. I think that's good. So,
like, she's not flashy, but she's very believable in everything she does. And I think that's a really strong selling point for a women's division where you've got a bunch of flashy people like Ty Conti and Jade Cargill who are more personality than in-ring content, basically. And then you got Serena here who's like, there is nothing fancy about me. I have a nice robe. I don't have pyro. I walk to the ring and I fuck people up.
I like as well that I like if you hear her in interviews, or I've read a lot of interviews, I haven't seen her a lot of interviews. Like, I kind of believe that she believes like I am fucking better than a lot of you guys. Like, I might be the best woman on this roster. I might not get that shot because I'm whatever. Like, I don't fucking wear a shit ton of makeup. Like, she does seem like she really would be that kind of person. She's like, I fucking worked hard and I am the best woman. So I like it. She seems genuine.
Johnny, I didn't think we were going here, but thoughts on this? It's been a good discussion.
I mean, it was far and away the best women's match on the card, but unfortunately, that's not exactly a high bar to beat. It was a good to great match. I mean, it suffers from the fact that this match didn't start until 11:30. I mean, by this point, I was starting to suffer burnout, and that's saying something. Like, I mean, we make jokes that I can watch wrestling 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, but this card burned me out. And by the time this match came out, I was, feeling pretty burned. I mean, thankfully the match before it happened, so I could have my popcorn match, because that's exactly what I thought Darby and Kyle was. That match had no business being on the pay-per-view. The only reason that match was on the pay-per-view was so that they could extend the last third of the pay-per-view so they could avoid Game 7 of the Eastern Conference NBA Final. That's the only reason that match was on the pay-per-view.
There's a reason why the match is on the pay-per-view. Tony Khan bought an extra hour.
I don't give a
pay-per-view
crap
time.
I don't give a crap about that.
Yeah,
I don't, not one bit.
You're
that,
just salty
that is
about
bull.
Martha Hart.
Yeah, that match was awesome, and
it was fucking phenomenal.
not only was it awesome, especially that fucking knee drop at the end. I thought it was going to cut Darby.
Prove that Darby Allin is not a wrestler. He's a spot monkey.
That's fine. Kyle kept him down.
Kyle O'Reilly is a wrestler.
Yes, that's why it worked.
It was good.
No.
I thought it was good. And also, it was the biggest surprise on the card to me. I know Darby has lost matches and, whatever, but like...
I remember the comment you made. I was sitting right beside you.
Yeah, it was like, I said, Darby Allin just got beat by a tag team wrestler. Like, this guy's not going for the title. Like, there's no reason for them to put him over, because Darby can be the TNT champion, and maybe one day in some sort of crazy circumstance, he could be the AEW champion.
Actually, pretty funny. If you said that live watching the pay-per-view simultaneously, I don't know if Jerry was actually paying attention, but in the Discord chat where we were watching it live, I pretty much said, hey, you remember when Darby Allin was one of the 4 pillars and now he's doing the job to a tag team guy?
I don't know anything about Kyle O'Reilly, and I definitely didn't think we were going here tonight, but I said it to the guys the other night. He's done nothing but impress me since being in AEW. I don't know anything about him. I love his submission style. And I legitimately thought there was a chance they were going to put him over.
I think
in the match.
I think those guys have been unleashed. Fish and O'Reilly. I think they've been unleashed. And I know, like, I saw Red Dragon before. I had seen matches because I heard of them, but like I totally forgot about them by the time. Like, I don't remember shit about them by the time after they got into WWE. They're just the NXT guys to me, and they were good there too. But like, I actually really like them. Everything from their fucking entrance music to the way they come out, and they totally are. They're kind of like FTR in the way they're like, we're just gonna fucking, like, they come out there, they do their MMA warm up, and they're like, this is who we fucking are. Like, we're gonna come out there and we're gonna kick your ass. We don't give a shit if you like our spots, or we don't need to do fancy shit. We're just like, but we make it look believable. Like when they throw punches and kicks and like that sweep, the sweep that he does, the foot sweep looks brutal. Like, and sometimes there was one point where he just fucking kicked his leg out from under him, and that's like a total judo throw thing to do. And it looked real, looked believable for someone who's seen that move done. That was actually my jiu-jitsu professor's like favorite thing to do, is to just fucking walk up to us on the mats and sweep both legs out and be like, pay attention, like, fuck. So I loved it. I thought it was great, and Johnny can go fuck himself.
It just, like, the match, the problem is the match didn't have a place on the card. There was no build to it. And
hang on. Just before, I know you're touching on, don't go too deep on the card stuff, because next week I really want to talk about ideas that they can do to shorten the main card.
Just in general, like I said, the only reason this match was added to the pay-per-view was so that they could extend the length to get the main, the top 3 matches on after Game 7 was over. That's all.
And I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I mean, that's fine, but there was no build to it. I mean,
that's
the
fine.
extent of building to the...
He had to fill the time because he bought the extra hour from Martha. That's why.
You're right. They could have filled that time. Do you know what else they could have filled that time with? I don't know. A double or nothing tradition like the Casino Battle Royale. Oh, we can't do the Casino Battle Royale because then we'll have to put people in it that should be in other matches. Boo fucking who? Your roster's 200 people long. If you put Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin in the Casino Battle Royale and leave every other match on the card, you don't change a single goddamn thing.
I was so happy. I just heard Jared name drop it twice now. I was sitting there watching this pay-per-view. I don't want to go long about this. I just want to get it out. And I was thinking to myself privately as Martha Hart was on. And Johnny, you know how much I love the Harts. I mean, I'm not super diehard wrestling, but like that's where my allegiance is. Holy fuck, some of the most cringeworthy shit I have seen on a wrestling product, and I sat there, I felt terrible thinking that too. Like I legitimately did, because like I'm looking around the room thinking to myself, I'm the only person that feels this way. I'm a fucking terrible human being. Later to find out we basically all felt that way.
It was just
I imagine
awkward.
everyone
Like,
felt that
I mean,
because it was. You know,
it's not that much different than when you're WB and you're giving out the Warrior Award and
yeah,
you're
exactly.
up,
That's what
you're
I
up there fucking. I mean, I like, I get that Martha obviously doesn't know she's speaking to a wrestling crowd. She was definitely doing more of what you would see from a press release for a Make-A-Wish Foundation thing. It was just misplaced, but it's not as bad as people be like, like the warrior spirit of fucking, doing crazy drugs and fucking telling certain groups that they don't belong on the earth, and like,
the problem
it was like
crazy warrior.
It definitely wasn't as cringe as some of that stuff. So I just took it as
I've never
she
seen it.
didn't know the crowd, and she didn't. It was like she was presenting to a board meeting. Like, it didn't seem.
It was a
didn't seem
fundraiser.
like she just didn't
it was a
know.
fundraiser speech, not a wrestling.
Yeah, she needed to do more raw stuff.
Yeah, in the context of what it was fine, but it just felt weird on a wrestling show because
She was definitely awkward with those belts and stuff too, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not putting this out there as if this might have been it, but like, you might have thought that she was tipping the bottle back that night, and maybe she was.
She was dancing as she went back through the tunnel. You can see her in the far corner just dancing through the tunnel. Of like,
someone
she's having a good time
on Instagram. Her like hug with Adam Cole lasts a like awkwardly long time, and then her hug with Britt is like 2 seconds and done. It's just like awkward, weird. But you know what? It's cool that we got anything involving Owen Hart in 2022, and I don't know if they still sell that T-shirt, but I'd really like to get the one they first revealed when they said they were gonna do.
I think so.
They're making a couple of Owen action figures, so I think they're going to be going.
They unveiled.
I think they're going to be going full in on this Owen stuff.
Oh, for sure, it's going nowhere. I just hope the next time around they find maybe a better way to do it. Obviously, Brett being there probably would have helped, but we know the inner family politics going on there, and you got to respect them. So,
to touch on one thing with Kieran before he does leave, the Kyle O'Reilly thing, I was looking up just because you mentioned a lot of the stuff he does is very like judo and karate based. As of 2 years ago, he was a purple belt, I believe. So, I mean, there's a legitimacy to what he does. It's not.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I notice all this stuff like. It's another thing. It's just like when I talk about movies, like I talk about movies on here all the time, and I'm always like, the fighting in this movie sucked, and people are like, it's awesome. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't like if you've done martial arts for 13 years and you've done like not just one, I've done fucking all of them at some point. Like it's a big deal to you, and even Ronda Rousey does a shitty armbar, and she's a judo silver medalist.
Olympian, yeah.
She has the worst punches in the business.
When you ask a jiu-jitsu person about a judo person doing an armbar, they'll be like, and it's something that's like somewhat of an inside joke for some of us. But yeah, you
mean you don't raise your hand to break it? That doesn't.
Or how I fucking made fun of Zack Sabre Jr. the entire time we were there because he just makes shit up and it doesn't look real. But yeah, Kyle O'Reilly's stuff looks really real. You can tell he knows what he's doing, and yeah, it shows, and it's awesome for people who know what a real armbar looks like or a real choke or whatever. You're like, that's fucking awesome. That's he's doing it right. He's gonna fucking rip that guy's arm off if he does this. If he goes full tilt on it. So
that's the reason armbar is first on the list of Jericho's 1,004 holds.
No, that's because the list is in alphabetical order.
No, because armbar is the best.
So before Kieran has to go here,
Anaconda stretch would be before that, though.
True.
There was no Anaconda
just
stretch
when
yet.
you're.
So what we're gonna do here is I want to get Kieran's take on the Punk stuff first before he leaves, and then we'll get him out of here. And then I'm actually gonna go set up the Star Wars streams, and you guys can continue talking about the pay-per-view, and then I'll come back and outro us. So you'll get like an extra 10 minutes with just the two of you. God knows what will be talked about then.
Just the two of you.
All right, CM Punk is your new AEW champion. I'll kick it off here really quickly and then hand it over to Kieran. I didn't think the match was like great. I thought it was okay. But what I did think was great was the story that they told in the match. It was very evident the story they were telling. And not every wrestling match tells a very good story. I thought this one did. And it had one of those endings that I thought it would have. Although I thought maybe he might actually try to hit him, not put it down. I liked it, and I'm not just saying this. I left that match feeling like Hangman's stock had gone up and not down. That's how I felt.
I don't know if I would say that, to be honest. I don't know. I thought that, touching on the Punk stuff, though, before I go, because I do really need to go soon, that's what Punk has left. That's what Punk has left in the tank, is he can tell incredible stories. You could tell that you could tell people that are a fan of Brett by, they do a Russian leg sweep, or they do or they do a victory roll, or they do whatever. You could tell that they love Brett when they do those things. But you could tell someone really loves Brett when they know how to sell in the corner and be, fuck, my life is over. Like, oh my God. Like, you could tell people love Brett when you see Brett type of selling. And that's what CM Punk does. And that's what makes his matches good, when you're like, shit, he didn't even do a fucking 450. He didn't even, there was no blood and violence. Nobody jumped off a ladder. How was that match good? Well, it was good because you believed that CM Punk, fucking limping on one leg, literally had nothing in the tank. You believe when he does it that, you're like, oh shit, he's too old. He's not going to be able to beat Hangman. Or, he makes you believe his story. And that's what he's got left in the tank, because I don't think he's going to, do anything new. I don't think he's going to do a ton of new moves or he's not going to reinvent himself like Jericho does every 5 minutes, which he's awesome at. I think what he's got left is he can still go out there and be like, this is why my matches are good. This is why people loved me for so long, because I can go out there and make you believe that I'm going to lose, I'm going to win, I'm the good guy, I'm the bad guy. Everything storytelling he can do. And I think it's funny because people always think of him as a promo guy. And he is a really good promo guy, but his matches were always good too. And his matches were good because he's really good at selling. He's really good at storytelling. He's really good at linking something that happened in the first minute of the match to the end of the match. And I think that's what he's got left. And I think he did it again. And hopefully he's got 4 to 6 months of doing it with a couple other dudes. So.
You want us to get you out of here now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We know people can't really find you in many places, but with Rick and Morty rumors starting to swirl, Rick and Morty fan show returning soon?
I would love to get it up really soon, to be honest now, because I feel like that hype is real. I feel like it's going to come back soon. I actually have been in contact with a lot of my top fans, and they're all telling me man, I wish I miss when we used to do that. So even if not, I think I might put something in the works where we'll just do a show soon, just a reunion, and then be like, hey, this is maybe once a month until we figure out when it is. Or so it should be back real soon. I will update you guys with a date when we get one, amid all the other fucking things we're doing coming up, amid if I have to go on at night, and do the after shows and all that stuff again, while we're doing House of the Dragon, while we're doing Kenobi, it'll be interesting. Anyways,
sanity. Thanks for doing
I
this.
hope you guys all have a good night.
Hopefully you unite a little better. We know you started off rough, but you seem in better spirits now, dude.
I did nothing but work today, and amid that, I got nothing but shit on several times. So it just lined up that way. So whatever.
I know that feeling. I ran out of toilet paper earlier today. So, anyway, have a good one, dude.
Later, guys.
There you have it. Kieran, Rick and Morty fan show returning soon, a special maybe. So be on the lookout for that. Johnny and Jer, before you guys dive into anything else, pay-per-view, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on the CM Punk the new AEW World Champion.
Man, I loved that Becky Lynch promo on Raw last night. It was fucking phenomenal. Wait, what? Oh, Punk, right?
Oh, Punk, right?
I really liked Kieran's point about Punk working a specific style of match, and he really proved it with Hangman, because Hangman is more of a work rate guy. He bases his matches around hitting big moves. Punk is a guy who tells a story, and it's a slower pace. And I think they meshed really well because they were able to get to the spots with the, teasing the finishers, the table spot on the floor. And then that bled right into the story they were telling with the belt and Hangman slowly kind of almost losing his mind during the course of the match. Like, there were probably 4 or 5 different points in the match where Hangman would look at the hard cam and you just kind of watched him slowly almost lose touch with reality as the match got further. Like, he couldn't beat Punk. What does he have to do? And he finally snapped at the end, and he's like, okay, I gotta use the belt to beat this guy. And he realized, I can't do this. This is against who I am and the person who, won the title in the first place. And it cost him. So I think there's still layers to that story if they want to touch on it later. Absolutely. I think Punk as champion is going to be a good thing because
it's already getting attention from other places that don't
exactly right.
So
because Punk is I would say the biggest name they have right now, more so than Jericho. And I think being able to say AEW World Champion CM Punk on TBS this Wednesday night, whatever, that carries a lot of weight. And you can say that and people are going to want to tune in like, oh shit, Punk's the champ. What's going to happen? I mean, he's got a litany of guys he could work with on the heel side. I mean, the MJF thing is kind of up in the air, but they already kind of hashed that out in a way so they can do their own thing. But I think now it's going to be the Punk show, and now he gets to work all these new stories with heels on the roster, and I think guys that he hasn't worked with that he's really excited about, because he was naming guys in the press conference that he hasn't worked. And I think there's a lot of meat on the bone with Punk, even if it's not like a year-long title reign or whatever. It doesn't need to be. Punk as champion gets eyes on the product.
I'm more confident of it being a longer title reign than I was before. Also, it's the way it was kind of presented in the press conference. Although all I took from that press conference was Tony Khan really doesn't like Eric Bischoff. So
Tony Khan loves the sugar.
Yeah. Johnny, I really got to set those other streams up, man. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the main event. I do want to say this. It got to a point during that event, and I really do believe that Hangman came out of that match looking better than he did going into that match. I got to a point that even though I'm a Punk fan, and I really wanted him to win the title at one point, even if it would be like his last match and retires the next day, I just wanted him to be AEW World Champion at some point. I got to a point during that match where it's like, you know what? I'm okay if Hangman wins. I'm okay with that. And I don't know if that's Punk helping elevate talent or just the match or the story that both competitors are telling. I didn't think I would ever feel that like that during the match. And I got to that point. So that was cool. Johnny, thoughts on the main event?
I mean, it's tough for me because, well, for one, I haven't rewatched it. And, the effect I had watching that at the end of a 4.5 hour pay-per-view, 5.5 hour, whatever it was, is just not, as intense. When your main event doesn't start until after midnight,
15, I think, and
you've done something wrong. I don't care if you say, well, Game 7 of the Eastern I don't give a crap, because if you're paying to watch this pay-per-view, you're watching this pay-per-view. You've already got their money. I don't want to hear anything about we want our fans to see it. Crap, bull crap. They paid for it already. They're going to watch it. I don't want to hear none of those excuses. But it was a good match. I mean, it was a great match. Even it told that story it needed to tell, that showed Hangman battling his demons, which was a great story. I mean, yes, you kind of have a few moments where you get taken out because Punk managed to botch the shotgun lariat twice. Like, that's I mean, yikes. But whatever. Keep on keeping on. It didn't take away from the match too
They're
much.
standing by he only botched it once. They said the first time was intentional. So
Yeah, because the first one led right into the GTS. So that, but I think
clear botch. I'm a big guy, so I can't imagine landing like that on my legs.
Because the second one he hit, and that one looked not.
That one looked like he might float at me.
Yeah, exactly. He flipped all the way over and landed like knees first, and then he had to like get up and hit the lariat. It's like, okay.
The thing about the match, and it, like I said, it did tell a great story. The ending was, I don't want to say inevitable, but to me it was inevitable because, like I've said to other people, Hangman's run has been stagnant. It was the chase, and he did come out of this looking better than going in because he didn't succumb to his demons, which has been a huge part of Hangman's character. I mean, they basically did a modified alcohol, alcoholic angle halfway through there, with him and Kenny and, going through all that and coming out of it and becoming champion in the whole run. And it made sense. Like there was a legitimate shot that, he made turn here and used the belt to become the heel and, embrace the elite and all of those sort of things were on the table, but they didn't do them. He stayed true to himself. And, my big problems were sort of one, the opening. Okay. Hangman Page has a history, big match, rides out on a horse. No horse. I did not like that. Traditionally he's always come out to the big match on the horse. He rode the horse the first Double or Nothing. He rode the horse at the first All Out. I think he rode the horse in his title match with Kenny the first time. Or the first title match he had. But, it took away that for me. And for me, the bigger issue was the finish. It felt sloppy. Like it wasn't clean. When he came over to hit the buckshot lariat, he stopped and froze and then went for the clothesline and they reversed it into the GTS. It wasn't crisp. It wasn't clean. I don't know why. Yes, okay, it was a 25-minute match. They were probably both blown up a little bit. And yes, it was, 1:40 a.m. or 12:40 a.m., on the East Coast. But I mean, for them, it would have only been 10:45, I think, with the time difference, something like that. So, that's not a problem for them. But it just, the finish kind of took me out of it because it wasn't clean, it wasn't crisp, and other than, it took away from the match being that they'd already had the two botched buckshot lariats. I mean, whether the first one was intentional or not is irrelevant. It was still a botched spot, in visually anyway. Whether that was an intentional botch or unintentional botch doesn't matter because he did botch it again later, and that one was legit. So it just felt busted and broken, and like they sort of kind of, oh crap, we got to go into it anyway and do it and finish it. It didn't feel, it wasn't crisp, it wasn't clean, and it took me out of the finish.
That's fair.
You're muted again.
So you're not overly satisfied with the finish then, or the main event?
Well, I mean, the main event itself was it was fine. It had its moment that were detrimental. It didn't, like, I mean, I'd still safely call it a 4-star match, but the finish was sloppy. They had a few spots that were sloppy, but that's easily sort of glossed over. They were big botches, but there were only a couple. Outside of those two buckshots and then the finish, there weren't. It wasn't a sloppy match. It was just a few sloppy spots.
Yeah, it wasn't as clean as it wasn't as smooth as certain spots could have went. And I think when you see a botched spot and you're into a match, it just, because you feel bad for the guys, especially if they're in a fucking main event in the most watched AEW.
It's how you follow it up that's important.
Yeah. And I mean, they were fine following it up, but it's still like in that exact second, you're like, fuck. And you feel bad, and then it's like, then they kind of get going again, but they gotta get the wheels moving again. So
it shifts the gear down a bit when you botch
exactly,
a spot.
yeah.
And it's hard to rev it back up to get back to that, elite level where the crowd is clearly, I mean, the crowd was burnt out for like the last 3 matches.
Mm,
Oh no,
no.
the crowd was not burned out during that Punk match. I've watched it twice. Ooh, hello.
Hello?
We're still here.
I thought I closed you guys. Sorry, I'm trying to set up those streams while doing this. So I got to watch it. It turns out you actually have access to the pay-per-view for like 24 hours. I didn't know that. So I got
Depending on where you ordered it from.
Yeah, Jade and I got to watch it the second days because she fell asleep beforehand. And I was actually stunned how much the crowd was into the match. Anyway, though, I need to bolt here, guys, for a second. I can give you guys 10 minutes to talk about whatever you want. I'll be back, and then I'll close you guys out because I got to try to get a couple hours before Johnny and I are insanely back here doing our thing. Johnny, just to confirm, it didn't drop early, right? You haven't seen anything about it?
I haven't looked.
I assume you're talking about the new Obi-Wan?
I figured they would have tweeted something out like at least an hour ago.
I will look here in a second.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
just, I'm busy being all excited because I'm being followed on Twitter by Sasha Banks.
Ooh.
Uh,
Oh. I mean, maybe Sasha Banks is watching right now.
maybe.
Can you tell us all about your role in the Mandalorian season? No, you're not in the Mandalorian season 3, but I'm sure you'll be in 4. Anyways, guys, finish it.
You know,
off.
I'm really glad what was it? No, okay, so I said I really liked the Kyle O'Reilly match, and I did. But the best match of the night by far was the Anarchy in the Arena.
Absolutely.
That match was a fucking all-timer. Like, from the start, just everybody going nuts. And I mean, I felt bad for the director because he's like got 7 camera angles and he's like, okay, they're planning a spot here, but I got to cut over here and then I got to cut over here. So, I mean, they made up for it with the replays, but I mean, it's fucking tough. And it's not even like a tag match where you can do split screen because they had 5 separate battles going on up until the finish.
Yep.
You know, the finish was when they all reconvened in the ring, and it wasn't even all of them. Garcia was stuck
Like
in an
3
elevator
or 4
somewhere.
guys for the finish,
Yeah.
basically.
Because Santana and Ortiz died on that table spot, and they weren't seen again. I loved the finish.
Mox was completely AWOL.
Yeah, and I felt bad for him because the table didn't break. It would have been easier for him if the table broke. Instead, he had to slide backwards with the barbed wire behind him, and he's like, "This sucks," because he's just laying there.
It was definitely an awkward spot when that table didn't break because it's like, oh, this is not going to be a nice landing.
Yeah, I think it worked because him laying there with his legs in the air and he couldn't get out of the barbed wire. And it worked.
Absolutely, it certainly worked and kept him out of the finish. I mean, and then of course you had, Big Magic just completely bleeding like a stuck pig.
Oh man,
That
he
was
hit a
an
gusher.
intense gusher.
And that was immediate too.
Oof.
'Cause, like, I saw him like get the color, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then they kind of showed him in the stands, and he was bleeding really bad, but he wasn't facing the camera, so I couldn't really tell. And then when Kingston got him up over the barrier, and he's holding him there, and it's like, okay,
oh God, he is just a complete.
Yeah, that's a 12 on the Muda
crimson.
scale.
It was. Oh, well, I loved it. I loved all of the matches. I mean, I liked the. Getting the hot dog card involved. It's not a real wrestling brawl until somebody gets covered in the mustard.
Mm-hmm. And they weren't even in Tupelo.
Yeah,
that's where my mind went.
a certain portion of the fan base was very pissed that Tony mentioned Tupelo in the commentary.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, the people. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All I gotta do is say the Mothershippers were not happy that they mentioned Tupelo.
Right, sorry, you said mothership and you didn't yell it?
I did. They might kick me out of the group.
Yeah. I went back and listened to an old 605 episode from like 4 years ago. And like the old stuff is good, but man, it's just so tainted and just I don't know. It's hard.
I can't even. The Kool-Aid is just way too intense.
Yeah.
Like oh boy, that's a yikes portion of the fan base.
Yep.
But no, I mean that match was what it needed to be. Like,
oh yeah,
which is funny because like the whole shtick that Mom's like, I don't want Stadium Stampede because that's sports entertainment. I mean, how different was this really from a stadium stampede, specifically the second one. I mean, the first one was very gimmick heavy because, you know, you had broken Matt Hardy in it. Of course, you're going to be very gimmick heavy. You know, like, I mean, the spot in the pool with Santana and Ortiz where he went through all of the different versions of Matt Hardy was freaking amazing. But, you know, the rest of the match was still very much like Anarchy in the Arena, just without the name. And it made sense to, you know, change it to something different. I mean, there was definitely a part of me in the back of my mind that as soon as they switched the venue for Money in the Bank, that isn't like, man, Tony's going to call up the Davises and be like, hey, can we use the stadium on Saturday?
Yeah, right. And so the first one had the dives off the goalpost and stuff, right? Yeah, because the second one they still had the crowd in the arena adjacent to the stadium and kind of worked their way over.
Oh, that was partial crowd at that point. They weren't back to full crowd.
They filled up a decent.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't partially. But I think it was like 5,000.
Okay, yeah, because that was the first one that they had like actual, you know, more than, you know, workers in the taking bets on the side of the ring, which was a tremendous gimmick.
I loved it. Watching it back fairly recently, I loved those early.
So here's an interesting thing, and I don't know if they kind of finished that part of the angle on Wednesday, maybe, but I found it interesting that Shawn Spears didn't appear at all at the pay-per-view, not even, you know, to show up and, you know, get punched or something. Like, you'd think he would have been there. Oh, MJF is getting absolutely murdered. I should probably go try and save him.
Yeah, I mean, it both did. I mean, there was definitely a strong part of me that thought when the music first played that he was going to walk out first and tease the audience like, great. Max isn't here, but I am. You know, like, I would have. I thought that would have been funny to do that, and then you have MJF come out and.
I loved Max doing the whole plane thing in the ring.
Oh, it was he just
the crowd chanting,
right
you showed up. You showed up.
I mean, I'm sure something will come back. You know, we'll talk about that again when we do more of it because, you know, obviously that's a huge part of the whole pay-per-view experience. I mean, you and I were talking about it on Saturday, late Saturday night. I think I don't know if I was the first one to bring it up to you or not, or if you'd seen it yourself by that point. But you know, when it all started, we were talking about it at like 11 on Saturday night.
There were all sorts of stories going out, and apparently Wade Keller just released some details about what's going on with him. Apparently he's like, so the gist of what I got was guys like Paul White and Mark Henry and all these, you know, WWE guys who are not working at all, essentially. I mean, Mark Henry does what? A backstage promo a week. So
was he selling commentary for Elevation?
Maybe, I don't know. But
I know it used to be him and Paul for Elevation. I don't know if it's
still is. So apparently they are making significantly more than MJF on his contract. Which, I mean, when it comes, like, I get guys like Punk and Danielson making more than MJF, and I don't think MJF has a problem with that considerably, but more so, okay, the ex-WWE guys who are not selling you tickets, drawing you a buy rate, do nothing to further this company. They are making 3 times as much as I am. This is a problem. And from that perspective, I get it.
The thing for me is that, you know, like, he signed this company as a nobody. Who knew MJF? I mean, even like, yes, guys like you and I, we knew who MJF was.
We knew who he was,
and we knew.
I mean, he had a slight bit of buzz.
We knew he had potential. You know, we saw potential. But you know, how many guys? There's a dime a dozen guys that you see that you're like, man, that guy can go somewhere. And then 10 years later, they're still headlining a Legion Hall for 25 people, and you're like, man, you could have been something great. Yeah. You know, but he kind of, you know, he rode Cody's coattails. Cody saw something in him, and you know, he blossomed into, you know, this super heel that the likes of which we really haven't seen in a long time. You know, he is just so, you know, he's got that perfect combination of X-Pac heat mixed in with actual heat, you know, like with territory heat. and it's amazing to see it. Like you love him, you hate him, and then you go to Long Island, and suddenly the guy's Steve Austin.
Oh, that
it's
was
like,
such a fun episode.
what? Like the
I
first
like
time
that-
it happened, it's like, what is like, you sit there and you wonder, oh man, MJF in front of the home crowd, what's the reaction going to be like? It's going to be a mixed reaction. There's going to be some cheers, lots of boos, and then you get there and the guy's the next coming of God. Like,
yeah, and I think that's the most effective use in 25 years that I've seen of the Bret Hart heat, where the hometown absolutely flips the script.
Mhm.
And I mean, AEW and WWE at the time were smart enough to have the foresight to plan ahead on this. And okay, we know guys like Undertaker and the Patriot are going to be fucking heels tonight. Let's work into this rather than, I guess what they would do nowadays is work against it and try to downplay it. And AEW kind of learned the lesson of, hey, this is a different atmosphere that we can have for this angle, this episode, whatnot. And it's such a different element that you're used to seeing for an MJF, coming out and whatever, and the crowd booing the shit out of him, to where he's the biggest babyface on the show by a fucking country mile.
It's a stark contrast because while you still get that in-house reaction, he's still playing the heel. There was no change in the character. The difference
Not at
is
all.
these people are great. I love these people. These are my people. Everybody else sucks. But these people, I love these people. You know? And
Yeah,
it works.
and that's how you do it, because you don't change the character at all. I mean, Bret Hart was still a prick in that wheelchair, but now the people wanted to see him be a prick to Shawn Michaels. People wanted to see him
because America sucks.
Yeah,
Everything you're saying, so true. I agree.
exactly. There's a believability to a good heel, and MJF is obviously living proof of this. I mean, we all saw the Punk promo from like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And there's such a believability about his character, on top of the fact that he does not turn the character off. I mean, go follow the guy on Twitter. You draw a picture for him and he'll make fun of it. Yeah, exactly. So, or he got interviewed by Alicia 2 years ago, and she still brings it up.
Yeah.
Here's Tits McGee from Whore Island.
Yeah.
So he never turns it off, and you don't see that nowadays, because everyone knows that it's a work, and so they separate themselves from their persona, obviously. I mean, I'm sure Roman Reigns is a different guy at home than he is when the lights are on.
Joe's not Roman. That's like
Exactly.
MJF is
No.
MJF.
Samoa Joe is better than Roman by a long shot. But and MJF is a guy where there's ways that he does it, but you have to look for it almost. So something I noticed that he'll do is he'll retweet somebody drawing a picture of him, and he'll make fun of the picture, but he's getting eyes on the fact that somebody drew a picture of him by retweeting it. So it's like this subtle way of, hey, I appreciate you doing this for me, but I'm still going to be a dick about it. So he doesn't have to lift the veil, but he can just still be MJF while appreciating the picture in his own little way. And nobody else, not that they can't do it, but they don't even try to. They're just all like, oh, thank you for the picture. This is the best. And, whatever. And MJF just takes his character and puts it into this while still getting the same effect.
I mean, and this is definitely a topic we will continue coming back to. I'm sure next week, Sean and Kieran will have their pound of flesh on this topic as well. But we're getting the old wrap up. The road agent Gorilla's come out and said it's time to go home. So
Yes.
It's time to go home.
One thing about Obi-Wan that I want to point out, I'm really proud that she was able to get a spot in Obi-Wan, considering she's been recording a new album the entire time. It's Reva McEntire in the show, right?
That's about right. That's about right. All right, JR, plug time.
All right. I run a Facebook page, Dark Match Drive. For all the wrestling news, all updates, discussion. It's a tremendous place to be. Everyone, I think we just hit a milestone of 69 members. So trying to pump those numbers up. I make, 40 posts a day. It's ridiculous. I need a life. It's a good time. That is in conjunction with a Google Drive that I run, Dark Match Drive also. 5 terabytes of wrestling, $10 a month. It's the start of a new month. Perfect time to sign up. Hit me up on Facebook. I can get you all hooked up. I'm in the process of uploading Prestige, New Japan, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, and you can find me on Twitter at right there, Jamie Virtue.
And while you're there, you can find me making terribly inappropriate jokes about a lot of things at different times.
Yes, I no filter on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. So don't expect a good guy there.
All right, and you can find me, as I like to say, here, there, and everywhere. If you are a fan of the National Football League, you can find us on the Inside Handoff Football Podcast, where we will be back probably late July, early August, bringing you guys our takes on the goings-on of the National Football League, as well as how to improve your life in fantasy football by two guys who have 5 championships between them in a shockingly competitive league.
Yeah, and don't wait 7 months to go smack somebody over your fantasy football team. Just do it that weekend.
Preferably not in a public place. Do that in private. Be a man.
Do it
Take
behind
them
the 7-Eleven.
In the words of a famous person, catch me outside. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's see. If you want to contribute to the channel, you can patreon.com/Fandom Empire. Oh, right over there. You can follow us on all our socials at Fandom Empire now. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow. Click that bell. And of course, you can find all of our pre-produced content as it releases throughout the course of the week. If you're a Star Wars fan, you can find me and Sean here in just a few hours as we preview episode 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi at around 2:30 Eastern time. And we will be reviewing the episode as soon as we finish it, sometime around 3:15. 3:50. That's not right. That's definitely not right. We'll be watching the episode at 3:15. At around 4:15. Yeah, we'll be reviewing the episode somewhere around 4:15 a.m. But if you're a late watcher and you don't get to watch it until later, catch our reviews whenever you can. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow, give us all those things. We'll catch you next week for another episode of the Fandom Empire Show.